Well, welcome to Master Powercast. Checking out another episode of Filmation, Season 1, Episode 12, Evil-Lyn's plot. Checking in with the widgets, protecting the cordite. Skeletor needs the cordite because he wants to fasten himself a harness so he can be on equal ground with He-Man. So, an early episode going on here, Tyler. Where does this rank for you amongst...
Oh, this is right there with Dragon's Gift of the greatest episode ever made.
Okay.
Oh my God, yeah. As a kid, it was a by the numbers episode that I would watch, and I enjoyed it. It was really cool, but it didn't leave the impression on me that Diamond Ray, Disappearing Dragons, Dragon's Gift, Return of Walker's Uncle. And as I got a little bit older and in my teens, I thought, wait a second, hey, this episode, this is the quintessential He-Man versus Skeletor episode that we've ever gotten. You really don't see a lot of episodes where He-Man and Skeletor are actually having physical contact, and the fight is actually them duking it out. Use the Skeletor's at a distance, firing blasts from his Havoc staff or making, magical gestures and stuff like that. Like, she even defends she had like a small grapple, but for the most part, they don't lock up at least more than once.
Mm-hmm.
And for the way that it goes, and you just have He-Man being He-Man at his most absolute. He's written, maybe because Paul Dini wrote this, it's like it's a very superhero-esque episode, not just because of the signal that the widgets blast into the air to Lord He-Man, but just how He-Man is called to action. And Skeletor determined, like, I'm going to destroy that man. Like, whatever it takes, I'm going to destroy him. It is just really building up He-Man as the alpha hero and building up Skeletor as the alpha villain of what these guys are destined to constantly be locked in combat for throughout time. And this episode does it better than any episode. Even though Diamond Ray sets the stage, this is by far if I was going to show anybody, if you're new to He-Man, you see the new piece of shit movie, you're like, I want to get in the old stuff. Watch this. And the dialogue is written to perfection. It gives Evil-Lyn probably her finest episode. She has a lot of good appearances, but she's played to perfection in this episode. It's just, cold-hearted and sinister, and Linda Garrett delivers one of the best performances as Evil-Lyn in this episode. The widgets, you have a showdown in Volcano Cave. How much more epic can you get with that? And the imagery, and it's so overlooked and underappreciated. And I feel like, I don't know how, I feel like the episode has maybe come around a little bit more, and I don't know if it's because of me being vocal about it on Fans of Power, way back when. I don't know if that had any impact. Maybe I'm just blowing smoke. But it's just one of those episodes you just don't hear people talking about or celebrating. And I think James has a good appreciation for this episode, if I remember correctly, as well.
We'll find out after we.
But then, then we'll find out. It's like, it starts out really strong, mate, and then it just it's all bollocks at the end there, like, oh, fuck, But I treasure this episode. The VHS here has one of the coolest covers with Evil-Lyn right there with the fire holding the cordite. And then the back there, that imagery that we'll talk about later is one of the finest images of Skeletor in the entire series. And again, it's a fucking crime that this episode is not celebrated. It's not lumped in as like a top 5, not even top 10. We can tell from the fucking shitty DVD that BCI put out years ago. And I'm like, how do you just morons? Idiots surrounded by what do you people just bandwagon because you just want to laugh at Plundor and shitty episodes like that? It's just like, are you people actually watching this stuff, or are you just I'll do what he said.
You brought up imagery, and I noticed in watching this episode that there are a lot of spots. We've used it before in the intro for Master Powercast. You saw it in the back of the VHS there. But there are also other spots that if you've been with us long enough and remember Fans of Power, there's parts of that were in that old intro as well. So let's go ahead. Let's jump in. You mentioned Paul Dini, written by, which is you say this is probably why it is as good as it is.
Mm-hmm.
All from the mind Paul Dini.
And knowing how he feels about this show, he's not proud of it. He doesn't look upon it fondly, and I hate that. And I know he wants to be remembered as the guy who revolutionized Mr. Freeze and created Harley Quinn, and did so, and he should be. But for someone who is just getting started and it was a job, like I hate that he just doesn't have the fondest memories or even really cares to talk about it. Even though he's interviewed on the BCI release, and his attitude just kind of seems like, I'm here for a check. And I guess that's fine, but I'm like, dude, if you're really not that interested and you don't look fondly about this time in your life, that's okay. But there are people who are really appreciative of what you've done with He-Man. You wrote Keyless Quest. You wrote the Ordeal of the Mystery Man He Faces. Not the Ordeal. I was here's a mini comment. To save Skeletor, Evil-Lyn's plot, like some of the most legendary episodes of this entire run. Like, you should be committed and feel appreciated. That fans, because you just Batman. Is that it? You want to be remembered for? That's great. But you've done other great things, and but I'm like, it still doesn't deter my love for the episodes that he's done. And this is by far I rank this even above Keyless Quest. Just because it's about He-Man and Skeletor, them colliding in a volcanic cave, man to man, and He-Man is just his absolute self in this episode. His demeanor, how he carries himself, how he speaks to Skeletor in this episode. It's like there's no jokes, but he's pretty much calling him out. And I love that. He does it twice in this episode. And just when Skeletor thinks he's got the upper hand, and He-Man just comes in and just kicks him in the balls. and does it with an audience. And we'll dig into that once we get to those moments here. But it's just it's everything I love about He-Man and Skeletor is written in this one episode here. It is the quintessential He-Man versus Skeletor episode of the entire run.
Well, we start off here with a fantastic panning shot, and then we get our little fortress that we have, and then we're introduced to Squinch, who's pacing around. He's on guard. He's on point. And I right off the bat, how can you not like his character?
I always loved Squinch since I was real little, and I love the widgets in general, because I certainly was not aware of hobbits. So this and Willow were my introduction to little people, and I absolutely love them in the mythology of He-Man. And Squinch was my favorite. There was something about him in this episode, and in the Mystery Man He Faces. I really clung to those appearances, and Can Do, like, just I grew to I wish we got to explore more of the widgets, even though they'll show up in a few other episodes, but you see all these other little widgets in the background. I love to see what's his name, what's his deal, and that kind of thing. So
it's like Red Letter Media. What's his story?
Yeah, I feel like they want to explore the most mundane background characters in Star Wars. Why can't we do that with He-Man? But then they'll do that and then make up these fuck up convoluted stories, and it's just like, okay, you guys are kind of making this lame.
Yeah, but it starts out here. Squinch is kind of played off to be sort of kind of stepping on his own feet. In a way. Not a total klutz, but he's definitely a little ill prepared, to say the least.
Yeah, he in his mind he thinks he is, but Can-Do knows better. Just by I'm standing right here next to you, you don't even notice me because you're in your own world. Yeah. Probably daydreaming. And immediately just goes into attack mode just, when he hears his name, as opposed to like there's no impending danger. So yeah, we're setting up like a wonderful introduction for the leader of the widgets and their number one guard. And as Candace, look, what we're guarding here, we can't be too careful, in our minds. And I just love this panning shot of Skeletor, like looming over the Widget Fortress, and just talking about his greatest plan. And then the Basher comes into frame, and he says one of the best lines: "Forward, my lackeys, in the name of destruction." Like I would want that to be a constant catchphrase for Skeletor when he's, getting his minions and henchmen all hyped up for battle or their next mission in the name of destruction.
Mm-hmm.
And which is why I made one of my mini comic covers was a reference to that line of dialogue, because I would love that to be Skeletor's, not overplayed all the time, but something you would become familiar with, that he's, that Clawful and Jitsu and Merman and Triclops, when they're in battle, they say, "All right, in the name of destruction." And then,
it would be a good battle cry.
Yeah.
Not only just for Skeletor to say it, but they could also say it as well.
Thing. Absolutely, because they're buying into the philosophy of like destroy, plunder, take, in the name of destruction. This is what Skeletor lives to do: destroy, conquer, take, plunder. And all these guys have signed up for that same philosophy. And to Trapjaw yells out, "In the name of destruction," and too bad, in the name of destruction. Like, oh yeah, man, it's fucking brilliant, man. And we're introduced to Laura, Swinch's girlfriend here, just being a good woman to him. Like, I thought you might be lonely while you're on guard duty, and him being like, I don't have time to get lonesome. No, indeedy, no.
And I feel like the way her appearance, I feel like, and just how loud she is and how she projects herself. I feel like everybody has met a person that looks and sounds just
there's something very familiar about her personality, her appearance. It just feels like, short, busty, loud, just, in your face, but she does strike me as like a character that cares about Squinch and is a good woman in general. And as we will see, like, she's got good reason to be put off with Squinch, because go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say that we definitely have to bring up, because you did a slight impression of Squinch just now, the way that John Irwin does his voice.
I love that. No, indeedy, no. That kind of high pitch, and which is similar to, it's a tone similar to the web store voice that he would do for the series. But Squinch is very specific and unique to the character. And that shot right there, like I love, with his little knife or sword, it might be a sword for him.
Yeah, it's a sword to him. Yeah.
Yeah, but it just, a guard's got to be on his toes all the time, always ready to react to the least little sound.
And that's what I like about John Irwin's voice, is obviously when you watch this, you can tell, yes, this is, it's John Irwin for sure. But there's just something about it, and everybody, all the voice cast, when they're doing different roles and using a higher pitch or a lower tone, and you can still tell that it's them. But it's watching as much GoBots as I had done over the past few weeks. There's just, I've really started to get in that realm where you've been, of appreciating more of their talents being used across multiple shows. And it's just, I love his portrayal of Squinch.
It's something too to be said, because this show has such a small voice cast for the pretty much this entire run. And having watched, you can clearly tell, okay, that's John doing this, that's Linda Garrett, that's Alan doing that, that's Lou, or Erica Scheimer. But sometimes you feel like, even though, okay, I know that's Alan Oppenheimer, but that's a really great voice he's using right now. Or John Irwin, like, for him to do Whiplash, Beastman, He-Man, Adam, Webstore, Squinch, Icer, Strong Arm. Like, it's just like it's like, my God, the variations that you listen to those voices, and you're like, oh my God, like, yeah, that's a slightly different pitch, but it makes it's a completely different voice, and it works great for that character. Same thing with Lou Scheimer does so many variations, like his Stratos and his King Randor, and you guys Cobra Khan, and it just goes on, and his Trapjaw, his Triclops. It's like it's just it's impressive as hell. And I hate that I never got to thank any of those people. Well, I got to thank one, and he made me feel like a piece of shit. You know, and that's why he's the Lord of Destruction, because he destroyed my dream of meeting Skeletor.
But speaking of which, this is when she points out, "Hey, what's this over here?" And then
because you hear this big cat growl, and that's what scares the piss out of Squinch. It's a whole gang of monsters, and it says it's Skeletor in the lead. Like, oh my god, shit! You know, and they ring the alarm to let all the widgets know, okay, we're under attack.
Yep. So while they go hide, we get Merman and Beastman scaling up, which you see Merman, he's doing well enough, but Beastman just starts.
He scales it.
Yeah,
and I like that, because Merman is a fish man.
Yeah,
he's gonna excel in the water, and Beastman, like, this is what he does. You would expect him to do, you know, through trees, and you know, kind of similar to like I kind of picture, maybe not to the extent, but kind of how Monkey is in Thundercats.
Okay, yeah.
You know, I kind of feel like, you know, if we were to see Beastman scaling trees in various other places, like he would be in his element because of the kind of ape-like quality that he's got.
But it's a fun little touch that they have here to show the different speeds of them.
Yes, it's a wonderful touch.
And this is when Laura gets the idea. Hey, let's pour this down on top of them, which is a very smart thing to do.
And it takes him out immediately. Which even Beastman with his grip, he's not going to be able to scale the oil sliding down. No.
Yeah, and that makes me think. In watching this, my brain went two places: Lord of the Rings, Two Towers, and Army of Darkness.
Oh yeah,
yeah. When you're just thinking of tower defense and the stuff that people used back then, and you think about oils and just hot liquids. Period. Very effective.
Which they use that. There's that one shot in Willow when Eric comes in and dumps that big bucket. It almost kind of looked like lava almost, but I think it was oil on a bunch of Nockmaar warriors inside the big climax there too. And I love that, you know, when Candy is like, all right, look, you know, they're not done out there. You know, they'll try the south wall next. So Squinch like goes on his own, and it is immediately started, like Panther leaps in and showing the intense fear in just his hair.
Yeah.
You don't need to see the face.
Yeah.
Because you know how fucking terrified he is right now with Panther. You know, it's good to see Panther. And Panther used was so sparingly in this series as well, too.
I was just about to mention that. So it's nice to see this character used. But it goes to show, I think Panther is one of those characters that obviously needed to be around more. But this is one of the situations where it's a pleasant surprise, and it's great to see characters show up randomly that you don't see much of.
And he's used in a very threatening manner in this episode too. Like I love that he's not just a quick dispatch and that's over with. I feel like his portrayal in this and like Colossal Awakes, and to a certain extent Diamond Ray tend to be like, I think this is probably his best episode. You know, and Panther never even got a mini comic appearance. How big of a, and I've often had ideas for like what that mini comic cover would look like.
Yeah. If anyone's gonna be able to right that wrong,
I would love to, you know, just going off topic just for a second. I'd always envision like seeing something of like He-Man on a Cheathertane having to confront Panther like in an arena almost, kind of like in Gladiator, like Russell Crowe having to fight the tiger. Like I always thought the imagery of like He-Man being introduced to Panther for the first time, but he's got no sword, no shield, and tethered, and having to battle Panther like in a locked-in area of some kind. I just thought it would be kind of a cool way to depict, you know, Panther as like, you know, Skeletor's loyal beast, and just going one-on-one with He-Man and a, you know, like clawing in He-Man, and He-Man's having to fight him because He-Man's not going to take a life, but how do I stop this cat, you know, without hurting him, you know, because it is an animal under Skeletor's control. But I just feel like it'd be so cool to see He-Man in a hand-to-hand fight with Panther, and just all this claw marks all over him, and Panther biting into his shoulder, and He-Man picking him, throwing him, and
it makes me want to watch Gladiator now. Thanks for that.
I know. I've had that vision for years. Like, God, it'd be so fucking cool to see He-Man in an arena like that. maybe not to the extent of the Colosseum, of course, the Roman Colosseum, but one similar to like the Circle of Doom using Clash of Arms, and seeing He-Man and confronting Panther in that arena there. And I just thought it'd be kind of cool to maybe have a backstory to the Circle of Doom, that He-Man has been there before. So when he sees Fisto there, oh, all right, I'm taking this thing down.
Yeah.
You know?
Clash of Arms 2.
Yeah, Clash of Arms 2, the beginning.
Yeah. But the widgets are starting to lose this battle, so they launch the cannon. We don't see it.
I love the signal flare, you know, that they have for He-Man putting the Iron Cross into the sky, and that's a big Batman influence, as we all know. So thank you, Paul Dini. I know you don't give a fuck, but I do. So thank you for that.
We cut over to Prince Adam and Cringer having a stroll.
And this is one of my favorite He-Man moments to this day.
It's such a great little bridge here that we get when we see them. Something's going to go down, and then that's what, because they could have easily have done it to where, oh, I see the signal, it's time to go, but no, we get a little fun piece.
It's a fun little like jump start of a typical day, like a superhero's life.
Yeah,
you're doing your own thing. You're out for a stroll. Oh my God, there's danger. Someone's in hell. Someone's in need here.
Someone's in hell.
Someone's in hell. But well, this poor farm boy probably thought his life was going to be in hell here. And I love the Slow-Toe. That's always been one of my favorite little kind of made up characters for the show that would show up from time to time. I would love to see that in another depiction as well. I just thought it was this big gentle beast. You know, it just seems like a lovable big pet. It almost looks like an anteater and an elephant put together. You know, it just has this kind of like very, you know, like the snout kind of reminds me of kind of anteater-ish.
Yeah, it's kind of a bastardization of all kinds of different animals. Really,
it is, and that's why I love it so much. It just it's just a creature that I feel like I would easily feel sorry for, and I know this big beast is just pulling this large farm equipment, this big kind of barrel, almost like a covered barrel, or it's I don't even know what you call it. It may be like a part of a farm, like an attachment, like how you bring like trailers on the truck bed sometimes.
Yeah,
you know, this could be like an attachment for something that this farm boy's been put in charge of taking back, and oh my God, they're going to probably the hardest part of their trip home, and the fucking chain breaks. And to this day, man, I get so pumped up. I get goosebumps, and you know, I have to give you credit for this, because you downloaded this episode on the audio for me many years ago, in like 2006, along with Disappearing Dragons and the live action movie audio. And I put this audio on my iPod, and I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna start listening to this when I work out. So when this moment would happen, is no time to rest now, cat. And the sword comes out, and I just get chills, and I'm like, I got to thank Nathan for that, man.
I do. I kind of forgot to a degree that I would do that at a certain point in time, where I would rip just strictly the audio from DVDs, because you liked to have them put on a CD, and you put them in the CD player in your car. So when you go on long trips, you're basically just listening to a movie.
Yeah. And you did it. You put Predator, Batman, and the live action movie on CDs. And on that trip to the beach, that's what I listened to all the way to the beach. Was all three of those movies, you know. And then when I started, you know, actually like using an iPod, I'm gonna burn these and put these on the iPod to listen to like the action sequences, you know, to get me all pumped up. And it started from you doing that. And that it mushroomed my intensity for this sequence here of like He-Man being called to action to help this farm boy out, who just thought, oh my God, my dad's going to kill me probably. And the music kicking in, He-Man just like, you know, did you lose something? And I just coming to the aid. I just love the good heart that He-Man's got. And that this poor kid just thought like, oh my God, I'll never let this down. Like how bad his life probably thought it's going to be. And then here comes He-Man. Not only that, but just meshes the chain back together. So there you go, fella, good as new. And the Fawn Boy's just so thankful for that. And He-Man's like, I'm glad I could help. Have a safe trip. And he's like, all right, Cat, let's go see what others who might need our help today. I just love that. Like, he's just, all right, we're called to duty. Let's just go check on everyone. And Battle Cat sees I see something already. And like, oh my God, it's just pumped. You know, I'm just excited. Like, I've listened to this episode and watched it so many fucking times in my life.
Well, the fun thing about this is they're starting on their trail again, right? And it's kind of a steady pace, and they see this, and it's like, let's take off. So amplifies.
They'll use that in the worst emergencies. To Widget Woods, hurry! I love the intensity as the music's building. I'm like, oh my God, whatever they need, this is serious. Like, they don't do that unless it's like really bad shit's going down. Yeah. And I just love the delivery in John Irwin's voice, and then we cut to like, all right, Skeletor's like, enough of this shit, and just tears the door down.
And we didn't see this prior to that, but there's also another shot too where Skeletor's shooting at the door, and you're seeing it pelt.
Yeah,
and like not quite penetrate, but it's getting there. And I really like the touch they had with that. But yes, Skeletor has finally had enough and uses the magic. Door is gone.
And this moment here when Merman and Beastman come in and just bully the widgets, like I just love that. All this is just meant to scare the fuck out of all of them, and just how. And I love that they're built up as real assholes in this moment here. They're not played for laughs. It's not meant to be silly. That is one of the coolest shots of Skeletor as well too. Like this angle, you never see this angle again in the entire series. And I just love that Beastman, you know, our master has a word with you. And then Skeletor just approaches, looks down at Kando, and tells him to step forward. You know, Skeletor is speaking in third person, and just tells him like, "I want your cord." Like, even Kando, like, never. You know, I'm not giving you shit. And oh, really? And snaps his fingers, and then Panther is just animated to perfection here, like just the intimidation factor. And then you hear this crack, and Panther looks back. You're like, "Oh fuck yeah, man!" Like, this is a hero's entrance here. You know, Battle Cat makes it clear. Oh, all right, pick on someone your own size, and camera pans up, and this is He-Man when he's like, "Once you pick on someone your own size, Skull," and fucking flexes. You know, and then Skeletor's pissed, like, my plan's fucked. And it tells him, like, you know, stop him. And I just love He-Man goes into alpha mode, man, takes out Merman.
Chucks him. Just fucking chucks him.
And then Beastman growls, and He-Man turns and looks. Says, "Oh, you want to play Snap the Whip, eh?" And
yeah, so those Eagle-Eye fans of Power fans, this clip was used, but then also when Merman is going to swing the sword down.
It's just He-Man doing what he does best, being the alpha male and just kicking ass all over the place. And the Skeletor's is like, "Merman, let's take him from both sides." And the Skeletor blasts from the Havoc staff, and He-Man deflects it and blinds Merman. And I love that Skeletor like, "Oh, you think you're pretty handy with that sword, huh? Well, try this." And his genre was voice of, you know, anything you can pitch, I can hit back. It's so epic, man. Like, oh my God, he's just so confident. And then just dismantles the Basher with that deflection, and just Skeletor's like, fuck it. You know, I had enough of this shit. And and this him staring at He-Man says, "Someday I'll have the power to destroy you, He-Man. Someday." And then vanishes. Like, I just love the malice in Alan's the portrayal right there. Like, that's, you're not going to get Skeletor portrayed that evil too often.
And I think that's just a testament to this being episode 12, right?
Yeah.
Being season 1. We're not far enough into it yet to where they have to start
toning things back and
making all the changes.
Let's soften Skeletor, give him a little bit more sillier dialogue, and you know, it's just like, no, this is, he's written to perfection in this episode, man. It's unbelievable.
Skeletor disappears. He also takes, of course, Merman Beastman with him.
And this is where we get our little bit of a trivia about He-Man's power harness there too. And he asked, "What was Skeletor after?" "Our cordite," but he didn't get any. And the cordite, that's what the sorceress fashions this hardness from. It helps add to my power, which I, as a kid, I always thought was so fascinating. That to think that that iron cross there is made up of cordite, like fashioned, and it just kind of makes you wonder, like, you know, when Adam was given this, like obviously, the sword transforms him into He-Man, but like when was the power harness created as part of the spell that was put into the power sword, or the day he was given the power sword, he becomes He-Man, but then the power harness was here, given to Adam when he's He-Man. This will be part of your look, and you'll have enhanced power due to this cross made up of
Yeah.
cordite, one of the finest minerals on the planet.
Yeah, I think it's just that power interacting with how strong the cordite is makes it, it blends it together and makes it that much stronger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd like to think too, obviously written by someone who knows what the fuck they're doing, and not someone who just likes to make up shit, but that the cordite being such a rare mineral that the widgets, they mine it, they have a little bit of it, and it's been passed down. They recognize like how potent this element is, and how often has that element been used throughout the history of Eternia. If you go back to the days of like Hero and the dinosaurs, and during the Snake Man era, was cordite a vastly used resource, or was it still, very rare at that time?
Mm-hmm.
And it took time for people to realize, oh my God, if you use this correctly, it can become a very powerful weapon, or an enhanced, weapon to your body, or something. I just would love to know, or explore that doesn't dilute the mystery of it. And obviously, one of the best things about He-Man is that you don't explain everything, because it much like with horror movies, don't explain away everything. It's more fun with the mystery.
Yeah,
but it's fun.
It's fun to think about, but probably best left.
Yeah, because idiots today would just fuck it all up as they do best.
I text this to you last night when I was watching it. Yeah, there was just you were talking about the angle of Skeletor. There's a lot of angles that I was noticing and watching this. I'm like, oh, that's kind of, to me, it's new and it's different. Obviously, maybe some of these have been reused over time, but I would see certain things like, oh, I've never seen that before.
Yeah. That's really and there's a lot of unique stuff in certain episodes that were only used in that episode. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you get a lot of, as we saw in the battle sequence, like the reuse of Merman attacking He-Man and him picking him up, Beastman charging. There's a lot of pieces of animation that are reused, but then a lot of unique angles, unique shots, a unique setup. That may be just a one and done for that episode, especially if it's like laid out in the storyboards. Like, can we try and do this? Especially with this being an early episode, you can kind of explore until you get that full stock system going on. But even in season 2, you'll see some newer stuff. You'll see some more definition in He-Man's muscles, in season 2, and also in She-Ra. So you'll see things expand a little bit, but also do a lot of reuse of things too. But that's what people don't seem to understand when they want to make fun of the series, and then I want to take a tree stump and bash it over their head. Is that good direction and good storytelling? You can reuse the same music, the same animation, and if you place it just right, you can make an unbelievably well done story and still get the same effect. But if you think, oh my God, there's just yes, because it was done for money saving purposes. But if that's all you're looking at, then you're, to quote, Red Letter Man, then I'm afraid you missed the point, because you're not paying attention to things here. All you're trying to find fault in something here. Look at the story. Because if that were the case, I recognize that. And you know what? Yeah, that makes you appreciate that this sequence that you are familiar with works so well used in this other episode here. Mm-hmm. Sometimes it does work when you'll take a character that was used, like Celeste is used in a Song of Celeste. Well, then they'll just take that character model, color her skin green, and throw it in City Beneath the Sea. Like, you couldn't come up with something better than that.
Yeah.
That's when okay, we're getting lazy here. But you can reuse, the same dragon, the same sequence of He-Man running, the same sequence of Skeletor holding his Havoc set. Like, it gets the point across. Mm-hmm. And you're not an aficionado of animation if you have fault with what Filmation did with He-Man, Black Star, She-Ra, Brave Star, any of the stuff. Fuck off.
So we go back to Snake Mountain, which this is a really good painting.
Oh
shot.
yeah, after He-Man, after it's been introduced, that Skeletor's after quarters. Like, I hate to think what would happen if Skeletor got his hands on it. Little foreshadowing. And yeah, we cut to Snake Man, and Skeletor's fucking pissed,
calling them idiots and everything that he can at this point.
And the shot of him like with his back to them, like just venting in frustration. Bunglers, just you couldn't even take on a motley group of gnomes, but Skeletor, it was He-Man. It's like, oh, it's always He-Man. And I love that Evil-Lyn and Panther are over by the council table and just laughing their asses off at this. Like, even though Panther's always going to get a pass because he's He-Man. I mean, he's Skeletor's pet.
Mm-hmm.
And Evil-Lyn wasn't there for it, so she can bask in their being dressed down and humiliated, and just as morons and uses these two idols, I guess you could say. I guess that Skeletor kind of uses magical spells with. It's like a sorcerer has like a cauldron. It's like he's using it to expand his anger. Like lava comes blasting out of it.
Yeah. In
the first one, and then the second time is morons, and the trapdoor opens up and sends them down to the blood falls. Which if that's the only punishment, they got off easy on that one.
Let's go around.
This go around
next time.
But even Evil-Lyn, I like, even though she was laughing, she's like, you overreact, Skeletor. Like, okay, He-Man was there, but you're not thinking here. And I love that this is when she's contemplating. You can just tell that she's observing Skeletor's frustration, and he's just showcasing and letting us, the audience, know, like, look, if I had that, I mean, it would make me as equal as He-Man here. And I love that just Evil-Lyn was like, true, but what you need is a clever ally to get it for you. Just observing how his failed attempt, like, I have the perfect idea. Now she's going to pull some Freddy Krueger shit and turn into a pretty girl, and fuck everything up, And I love that when she turns into Nadira, she still has the maniacal Evil-Lyn voice, and then slowly fades into the sweet Nadira voice.
And then if you look at her costume, it's still very much reminiscent of the color scheme.
Oh yeah,
her outfit,
purple and the blue. Yeah, it's I fucking love it, and I love that even in this moment, Skeletor's just like, oh, for your sake, it better work. Like, it just his delivery, like he cackles at her.
Mm-hmm.
And still is like, I'm not in the mood to be, let down. So do not fail me.
Like you've mentioned before, the portrayal of Skeletor in this episode is the malice that he has in that is unlike what you see in a good portion of the show.
Which I'm like, it baffles the mind why this has not risen to the level of Dragon's Gift, House Shakoti. Because the quality is it's unbelievable. I think Paul Dini's most celebrated episode is Tila's Secret, which, I mean, Tila's Quest.
We already did that episode, Tyler.
Yeah, we've already done that episode.
That was a book.
That was a book. But I'm like, nah, dude. Like, it's this is ultimate evil versus ultimate good. And now we get to see the plot of Evil-Lyn's plot unfold here.
Which, I mean, it's a brilliant plot. I'm gonna have Panther follow me. I have to pretend to be in peril. We're gonna go here. Squinch is gonna see it. They're gonna come to my rescue. Oh no! And then
they scare him off with their spears and think, okay, we've saved this young woman who's scared, and come on in. We'll take care of you.
And then she goes on to tell the story. My family's still out there. Oh, well, we'll go look for him. It's pretty brilliant. It's good
playing off the good nature of the widgets, and while Skeletor and Panther are hiding behind a tree and observing from a distance, and like, she did it, she's inside, and soon the cordite will be mine. And he laughed. Oh God, it's fucking brilliant, man. And that shot right there, is used in the He-Man: The Greatest Adventures of All. When the wraparound sequence at the end, when the sorceress is letting the audience know, these are other adventures you'll soon see. This is the shot that's used in that, or one of the few shots. using it, which I thought was really, really cool. So once I had seen Evil-Lyn's plot and go back and watch the Grissom, oh, that's cool. I know that episode. So it was just really cool to see that. And I just like seeing the addition of other widgets in here that are not name checked, that are just wanting to know and help out this poor pretty girl who's in danger. And Squinch is all like, oh, it's all right. I just
totally smitten with her. And I mean,
yeah.
I can't say, I mean, I don't blame him at all.
Not at all. And I think most of the men in the Widget Village, which Laura's kind of like the Smurfette of the group. You really kind of feel like she's the main female, but all these men are probably, oh my God, like just, oh, well, we'll do whatever you want. Sure, we'd be more than happy to find it. Oh yeah, my God, we're gonna do it. Yeah, absolutely. And I love Can Do immediately tells Squinch, you stay here and take good care of Miss. And you look at Laura, she's already like, oh man, he's already forgotten him even in the room. And once the group leaves and she's still staring at Squinch, and then you hear Nathan is brought to me before this hand, like the Filmation banner
jingle. Yeah, the
jingle played in reverse as she scurries out of the room because she's pissed off that my man's already forgotten about me.
Which is a great reuse of that.
Absolutely.
Yes. I mean, I kind of wonder who came up with that idea. Let's just take that, reverse the audio, and then we can use it in this instance to play off her leaving the room as well. Just the small little touches like that. You were talking about reuses of character models and scenery and placing things certain ways in a different order can help enhance it. And I've noticed a lot, especially probably I would say in the last few months now, with having more of the audio tracks, when you're like, yeah, take this and put it with this clip and everything. When I go and watch the episodes now, I'm picking up more of the music now. I'm like, oh yeah,
that's so cool, man.
Yeah, this is from this, and that's this is this part when it's going to lead into this, or this is the middle part of this track, because I've listened to a few of them enough times now. I can't say specifically like, yes, this is the name of this track, but when I hear it, I'm like, this is what came before it, and and then whatever.
Man, so, can you imagine like 20 years ago you saying anything of what you just told
me?
Me
all the stuff coming out of my mouth right now never would have happened 20 years ago.
No, that's it. I'm so proud of you, dude. Like that things like that are registering with you like that.
Yeah,
But
hey, Squinch is like, hey, check this out.
Yeah, because Evil-Lyn is really selling it.
She does a really good job of my family,
and really playing. Okay, now I've got Squinch here all to myself, and he's trying to make her feel better. But look, here's an emerald. And she's selling. Oh, that's so pretty. Oh, we got a whole mine full of them. Really? I'd love to see it. And being a very easily smitten man, which, most men can all relate to that when a pretty girl is being very friendly with you. How do you like those, eh? And I was, they're beautiful. But what's behind that door? Nope, sorry. Don't let anybody back there. It's too risky. And and then she continues to do what a pretty girl would do with anybody who's smitten. Well, and she's just blowing up his ego. What would a brave, strong guard like you have to be scared about? And he's like, oh, golly. Okay, but you have to promise not to touch anything. And then,
there it is.
There it is. This big ass, or just this nice collection of cordite, just glimmering, glistening in the darkness. And this is what I call my Freddy Krueger moment here. When Squinch explains what it is, and then Linda Gary goes, at last, in her Evil-Lyn voice, like, oh my God. And it's like, hey, you promised. And then she just turns back and he's laughing at his face. Like, oh my God, that's just such a bitch thing to do. Because this little guy who thought he was doing such a good deed has just now been given the biggest humiliation of his life. And then pointing, and her animation, like the finger with her hand there, and just said, "You just sealed He-Man's doom and your own as well." Like, I just love the arc that he has in this episode of like thinking he's, doing good deeds and just being helpful, and now he's just let his entire village down with the ultimate evil and had no idea. But he's all taking it all in on himself. As we'll soon see here in a little bit, as they realize, as they hear Swinch yelling, like, "That Swinch, come on!" And Evil-Lyn just is like, "Oh, they're coming back, but they won't stop me," and turns into a fucking fireball. And just laughs and goes right over their heads, like she's just putting extra salt on the wound of what she's just done to the widgets. But thankfully, the sorceress has been observing all the actions going on here today, and I love that. This must not be. And I love that He-Man and Bionic are just taking a breather, just taking a rest in the sun, taking a break from it all. It's Zoar.
Which I'm glad that I heard Zoar, because you and I had the conversation a few episodes ago. I'm like, James says Zor.
Well, John Orwell says it's Zoar.
Yeah.
So when He-Man himself is saying Zoar, I'm sorry, Buster Burger, but that's how we speak. I'm sorry, this is America. There's a South Park reference for you.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good episode too.
Oh God, that's one of the best in the entire series.
The kids are tired of playing Little League and they don't want to do it anymore. And
Randy keeps getting in fights with parents.
Yeah. And it kind of just has like this underlying like Rocky motif to it too. And,
oh God, it's the perfect episode, man.
That's so good.
But she let He-Man know that Skeletor's got the widget's cordite, and right now they're forging it in the fires of Volcano Cave, and we're off to action. And this right here, I just love this. Like, Candace putting all the blame on Squinch, which technically, yes, he opened the door voluntarily and let her in there.
But he should have also have known better not to leave Squinch by himself in a scenario like that, because he is very much well aware of how Squinch is, how easily startled he can be, how aloof he can be. That he's got to take some of that on the chin as well.
And that's why I like when Laura just says Squinch didn't know he was an enemy, Kando, and none of them did.
Yeah. And
all Kando's just mad because, yes, our most precious resource has been taken out from under us by Skeletor, and she walked right in there and just did it. And I love the moment, even though he's hanging his head, and he's like, all right, you know what, that right, I'm going there. I'm going there. The only place he can Skeletor can melt is Volcano Cave, and I'm going there myself right now. And I just love the fact, like, you know what? Fuck this. Yeah, I screwed up. I own my mistake. But I'm going to go do it if I have to do it by myself.
Yeah, and risk his life.
And I totally buy, like, grabs his helmet, walks out with his spear, and plans to go out there by himself. And I love the look of shock on like Kando and Laura's face. Oh my God, like, as much as they know him, they were not expecting that. Mm-hmm. And then we get this amazingly placed music, which is used in a lot of episodes. It's like foreboding music. Mm-hmm. The panning down of Volcano Cave. And I want to use Volcano Cave in another mini comic cover. Like the interior.
I mean, yeah, like, because that's a location that you could also do a lot with.
I had an idea too of like having it be because I thought like the title would be called Valor in Volcano Cave, but then I thought, like, if I wanted to use Spikor, I could call it Untouchable Evil, and he's placing his forked hand over the fires and getting all like scalding hot, like turning it red. Mm-hmm. And preparing for combat with He-Man.
Well, because Volcano Cave can have this essence to it that this is the place where you go to forge most important things, such as cordite, whatever it may be. But yeah, having Spikor there,
I think it'd be cool, like, to have a big confrontation with He-Man and Spikor in this place with a hot girl, of course, held captive there, and He-Man's got to come in there and save. Of course, man. Yeah. But right now we're witnessing the biggest, like, He-Man versus Skeletor, like the build up to it, because I love that we're just seeing He-Man and Bionic listening, not talking, not conferring. They're just listening, and He-Man's looking through this crack in the cavern in there, and watching He-Man or Skeletor and Evil-Lyn talking and saying, once the cordite is hot enough, I'll forge it into my own breastplate. and the music's building and building, and Skeletor's saying, I'll forge it, and it will make me, power enough to crush He-Man. And the fire emerges and blasts, and then He-Man's had enough and just, oh god, I was hoping you're gonna have that one moment. You think it's not there?
It's not in there.
It's not in there. But when He-Man breaks down the wall and says, "That's a pretty big bow, Skeletor," and Evil-Lyn goes, and it's like, oh, she's like, oh fuck, like that's her selling the fact that even Skeletor is boasting, I will be, strong enough to destroy He-Man. He-Man's right there to call him out in that moment, and even she cannot resist. Oh my god, like that is a moment that if Paul Dini wrote that is a stroke of fucking genius to emphasize that even Evil-Lyn in this moment of Skeletor's triumph, like, I think you're talking too much, or like I think you've just been checkmated here in this moment here, and no delivery of dialogue, just a shock on her face, and that's something you will not see again in this series. And see Lane just smashing right through the wall, man. It's so fucking cool. There it is. Look at that, people. That one facial expression sells Evil-Lyn's real perspective on He-Man.
It's a big oh shit moment.
It is, and you don't get that again. I mean, yeah, you have moments where characters, but in this moment of real devastation that could come to Eternia with Skeletor being triumphant here, Evil-Lyn knows, I don't think so yet. And He-Man said, that's a pretty big bow, Skeletor. Would you care to prove it? Just saying it so confidently. But then Evil-Lyn's like, all right, you mind the cordite, I'll stop him. And Demon of Stone come forth. Yeah.
It's a really good spot.
Fucking rocks, man. And then the lava's exploding and with power. And
this is probably what I'm going to use for the intro for this episode in particular, I think.
Yeah, and we get a reuse of Raybar from Quest for the Sword, and which I'm like, I had no problem with that because the Raybar rock design, which is used in other episodes as well, is a great design. So when I saw this for the first time, I'm like, hey, that's the rock monster from the Quest for the Sword. But it's a great reuse, this purple rock monster, and just knocking He-Man down to the ground, losing the power sword, and Skeletor's like, I want a magical gesture, the spell will be complete.
And there it is.
There it is. A cordite, breastplate there. And I love too when He-Man throws the rock monster punch it and loses an arm.
Yeah.
Like that's a nice little touch there. And then as Skeletor places that on the side, now I have the power. It's just like, and Evil-Lyn's like, indeed you do. And then He-Man's, all right, enough of this shit. Just dismantles the rock monster, the Demon of Stone. And here it is. He-Man, come face me, He-Man. Power against power. And he just knocks He-Man the fuck down, in the physical contact. And then, don't have that shot there too, where Battle Cat leaps down at Skeletor, and Skeletor grabs a hold of his hands, and just struggles for a second, and then throws him back.
Mm-hmm.
So fucking cool, man. Just to, in this moment, Skeletor taking on both He-Man and Battle Cat at the same time, and winning.
Yeah, it's selling the power of the cordite.
Yeah, the cordite really does add enhancement, and then Evil-Lyn takes some stalactites and shoots him down and just encases Battle Cat. And this shot of He-Man charging Skeletor, and he reaches up and just punches the fucking rock, the ceiling above him, and shatters rock. That's just it's a big alpha moment for Skeletor. Just emphasize I can do what you do, and then this catching the sword
and then
holding.
Yeah,
and then looking at it and just laughs at He-Man. This is how it had to end, with Skeletor triumphant at last. And then He-Man grits his fucking teeth. Right, he pulls the sword back, and then He-Man just he's like, I'm gonna kick your fucking ass, man. And then they just lock up over the sword, it's with this big boom moment. There we go. And in that moment, Evil-Lyn's just watching He-Man's winning. But no matter what, well-timed spell. Holy shit, she's tied up. Who did this? We come to help, He-Man. I love it. All three.
Now, granted, I mean, I feel like Evil-Lyn could easily get out of this.
Well, and technically she does at the end of the fight, but it does wrap her up,
Yeah. To me, and I'm not trying to be nitpicky, but it just seems like she could quickly, as soon as this is going on, quickly get out of it.
But
I understand it.
Yeah, I get it, because I think it's poetic for the widgets to be the ones to take her out of the fight.
Yeah.
And I like that. And I also, if she's angry and not concentrating, and more upset the fact that the widgets are the one,
Yeah, the anger is.
I'm trying to come up with some logic as to, like, she's the sorceress of Snake Mountain. Sure, she could cast a spell with it, but in that moment, it's like her ego is getting the best of her. She's not thinking clearly. She's just like, "Oh, I'm going to turn you into toads."
Yeah. Anger clouds the mind.
It does. We're all guilty of that. Even though you can do it, you can't do it in the moment because you're not fucking thinking straight. So, and as He-Man takes Skeletor to the ground and is like, "Fool, you'll never defeat me. I've got your power too." And he's 2 boulders up, and He-Man just smashes him right over Skeletor. And this is a great big moment, just picking him up in superhero fashion, and courage, honor, and other things you wouldn't understand, and crushes that fucking breastplate there and just drops Skeletor to the ground, like in the most, like, fuck you. I just kicked your ass, man.
And that was the surprising thing to me, is how he does that and then just walks away, turns his back to him. I'm like, that's a ballsy thing to do, to just turn
that's
your
what makes it so cool, is because, like, you're done. You're finished. There's nothing you can do to me at this point that I have not already defeated. You've given me your best shot. Just taken it away from in front of your face, and that's the biggest insult. And just drops him on his ass. And then Skeletor's like, "Well, brave words, He-Man. We'll see if they save you the next time we meet." And he gets up and launches a spell to get him and Evil-Lyn out of there. And can't imagine what kind of anger issues he's going on with Snake Mountain when he gets back there,
This is a nice touch right here when he does the spell to disappear, but then also Evil-Lyn does. We get this little swoosh of wind in between. I'm like, that was a nice little touch to really sell the effect
of them exiting out of the cave and leaving an impact like that. I couldn't agree more, man. It's a great kind of little terrifying moment especially for the widgets. Like, it's so much where they got to hold on to He-Man from not being blown away into the lava. This is Skeletor and Evil-Lyn at their finest. It doesn't get any better than this. I don't give a shit. It does not get any better than this, other than the live action movie. But and this is when we kind of wrap it up with He-Man thanking the widgets for all they did, and Squinch, "Oh, you wouldn't have had any trouble if it wouldn't have been for me." It's like, "Oh, don't worry, Squinch. You're not the first to fall for the charms of a."
And then Squinch, like a dumbass.
Yeah.
Here at the end,
swears off women for good. Oh, huh? I didn't mean you. I mean pretty women. What? Oh, you're pretty for one of the guys. For one of the guys, huh?
Yeah, and then you hear that fading dialogue where she's basically beating the shit out of him.
Yeah,
He-Man's just laughing, and then the episode ends.
Well, which I'm sure what he's saying, I'd probably be laughing too. And then we get our moral of the story given to us by Tila about judging books by their cover, because things can be quite deceiving no matter how good they look. And maybe it's not as bad, even though it may look, oh my God, it stinks and it's weird.
But it's one of those things of good or bad. Your perceptions of things, you can't just judge it by how you're looking at them.
The first impression, you can't always go by that. Me and Nathan know all about that.
Yeah.
You start to learn, these people are full of shit. They don't know fuck all.
But that was Evil-Lyn's plot. I mean, it kind of goes without even really asking Tyler.
I dare our good friend, the Reverend James, to come up with a better review and a better score after we just. And I know he's not going to give it what I gave it.
Well, I obviously, of course, this is a 10 out of 10 for Tyler.
Oh, it's a 15 out of 10.
15 out of 10?
Yeah.
Scale does not go that high.
It blew off the charts.
It's a really fun episode.
Oh, God.
Would I say 10 out of 10? I'm tempted to, but I almost feel like maybe 9 out of 10 is a good landing spot. But
that would make you an asshole then. I'm surrounded by assholes.
I think, 10 out of 10 is definitely the way to go. I mean, if anything, if people give it a lower score, I feel like they need to at least bump it up by 1 point, strictly just because of how infectious you were talking about it.
But
I feel like that elevates it.
And I'm like, okay, look, I know everyone's going to have their favorite episode, their favorite 5 episodes. Like, but after talking about it great detail with you, anybody listening to this, like, how do you justify not putting this in the top episodes? Just not because of my enthusiasm for it, and not because of what I'm just like breaking it down of all these points, these important elements of the characters, how they're depicted, the arc of Squinch, the stakes, the atmosphere, the portrayal of He-Man and Skeletor and Evil-Lyn, all legitimate threats, and you're like, I kind of like, you're like, I would love for people to approach me and say, okay, this is why, and then I'm like, I'll have you locked up.
Speaking of which, let's for those of you, let's
Nathan will be reading from the New Testament.
Yeah. So
James, I got the Old Testament right here, James.
James goes on to say, although we are introduced to the widgets, the first quarter of this episode is nothing special in terms of storytelling.
You fucker.
However, when Evil-Lyn reveals her plan to Skeletor Snake Mountain, the episode really begins to shine. In their scenes together, Squinch's innocence is played perfectly against the wicked beauty of Evil-Lyn. The story manages to run 2 plots side by side at this point, with He-Man racing to stop Skeletor and Squinch making the effort to redeem himself. Paul Dini knows how to write classic episodes, and this time and does it by introducing the widgets, using Evil-Lyn to her full potential and providing an even match between He-Man and Skeletor. 8 out of 10.
8 out of 10? God, I'm going to have him committed. 8 out of 10. Guy, we got to get him back soon, because I'm like, what kind of Billy Jack bullshit is this?
We will. It's definitely in the cards, and also too, a little bit later, I'll discuss about some future plans of having someone else back. But 10 out of 10s all around. I will bump it up to a 10, because when you really start, like you said, taking all these bits, and it really adds up and piles up and makes, as you said, it's sort of just that quintessential He-Man episode. The superhero stuff added in there, the bit with the farm boy real quick doing that, the signal for him that he's needed, all of that. It's just it's just great. Don't get mad when I'm using this word. It's just great basic storytelling. It's like the building blocks to make that
it
shit
is like it does
work.
Great stories don't have to be this overly complicated story arc. No, use the basics. I mean, some of the greatest stories ever told are just basic hero versus villain, but it's how you portray them, how they're depicted, how you have them get to their point. It doesn't have to be this, oh my God, this and that. It's like, no, the simplicity of the story is one of the most powerful elements of the story. It's not meant to be a complicated. It's simply good versus evil, but you're taking both sides very seriously. Mm-hmm. And the stakes, like, no, this is a legit threat here. And again, that's what makes this the one of the most perfect episodes, next to the Dragon's Gift. It's in House Shakoti. It's just fucking perfection, man. And this is what I want more of. I want more of this. The dynamics between He-Man and Skeletor always be like this. Never anything less. Same thing goes for all the evil warriors. I want them to be taken as seriously as they're portrayed in this episode, as legitimate threats. And He-Man always being like the super good guy, not walking around and preaching. No, brush your teeth and wipe your ass now.
Those are good things to do, but
yes, they are. But I don't want him to be a one-note character that's just walk around, whack, just like, no, being the best man you can be. But when it's time to call out the bullshit, all right, how about you pull that over here? Mm-hmm. Like just being a true hero, and that's what I love about the portrayal of He-Man in this series, man. For the most part, he's always given some of the best portrayals, even some of the more shittier episodes. But that's what's made him my biggest idol is how Filmation portrayed him. John Norton's delivery, like by making this character come to life, like that's the ultimate male I would always want to be. the guy that looks like the ultimate male, but he's not egotistical. He's earnest. He's honest. He's sincere with what he's trying to do. He just wants people to do the good thing. He wants to do the good thing. And he doesn't want any fanfare for it. He's not out for attention or anything like that. Just trying to help others, preserve life. Just be a good, caring man, but not take any shit from anybody, especially when they go after people who can't defend themselves. Man, fuck those people. And I love that. He's not, it's just, he's the perfect character He-Man is. And he will always be my favorite character of all time. It just there's nothing will come close to it. It's just something I aspire to be. As silly as that sounds, nothing has left an impression on me bigger than He-Man, and I'll go to my grave the rest of my life wanting to be that way.
That's the point of the characters when creating stuff like that. That's the message you want to put out there for the kids. Be good, do good things, help defend others that can't defend themselves. Don't take any shit. But also, brush your teeth and wipe your ass. Yeah, brush your teeth, wipe your ass. I want to see that as a moral. 10 out of 10s. 10 out of 10s all around. We'll go ahead, we'll roll some commercials, and when we come back, we have a lot of feedback that we need to cover from the past handful of episodes that we've done. So we'll get into that. We'll be back right after this.
Don't go away.
Beyond the stars come the brave and mighty Thundercats. Thundercats! Oh! Don't miss the action as the mean and ugly mutants attack! Team up with the most evil one of all, Munra, to steal the sword that holds the Thundercats' superpowers, the magic eye of Thundera. Join the bravest of them all, the Thundercats.
Thursday night at 8 on Television 28.
Miami Vice, it's
game time. Friday.
waging war for all the power in the universe.
Now it's your turn. Give it up, Skeletor. I've got He-Man, the most powerful man in the universe. Come on, He-Man. Come on, He-Man. You got him, He-Man. You're a hero.
You can be a hero.
With He-Man.
Buy He-Man in specially marked packages and get a mutant-free figures and vehicles sold separately.
And we're back. As I said before we went to break, there's a lot of feedback that we need to go through over the past few episodes. This first little batch here comes from comments that we received on the Bionic 6 episode review. Bionic's on the first adventure. Starting off first with Casey Duncan. Really, really fun. So thank you, Casey, for
appreciate it, bud.
Mike Lomax, great to hear you two talk and discuss Bionic 6. Then the after episode subject chat, the challenges of displaying the collection, Bond, and everything else. Yeah, we spent quite a bit of time, quite a few episodes talking about James Bond stuff.
Yeah, we did.
There was a lot of movies, so there was a ton.
A lot of fun. A lot of fun doing that.
But thanks, Mike. Drawing by hand, Bionic's on. Love Bionic 6. I've watched them on YouTube. I only remember the toys here in the UK. A while back, James mentioned we only had 2 episodes in the UK at the time. So yeah, you think about how under the radar it is for us. I can't imagine what it was like over there.
Fucking crime, dude.
And then finally, this comes from Ubsweekend. So check this one out. This popped up in my feed, and I should stress this because I clicked on it. When we got this comment a couple weeks back, this YouTube account was only a month old. So it says 2 months now. So just a little over.
So a guy who just started found us that quickly.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy that our show is on a recommended feed for new YouTube users.
I guess we're doing something right, and he saw us out.
Well, apparently not, because they go on to say, this popped up in my feed, and I now regret tapping on it. Hands down, one of the worst podcasts I've come across. If you just want to shoot the shit with yourselves, go do that in person. Don't clog up everyone's recommendations with it. There's zero substance here.
So fucking sorry.
Just the most basic, surface-level takes that literally anyone with half a brain could spit out. Total waste of time.
Just anybody could do this?
Oh man, you know,
I guess you and I should really just hang it up, man.
And total waste of time but then spent the time to write the message. So
Yeah,
who's
so
wasting whose time?
Whose time was wasted more?
Yeah, you have
So
to
are we
think,
wasting our time doing this, or were you wasting your time bitching and complaining that you didn't like us, but felt compelled to finish the show? So,
yeah,
like, I hope you're not one of these guys who likes to hate watch stuff and then make up fake accounts and just kind of go after people just so people don't pick up on who you are. I hope you're not one of those kind of people. I'd like to think you're better than that. But if not, keep hate watching us. You're just giving us more views.
yeah. So, appreciate that.
Thanks
Moving
for
forward,
giving us your time.
got a comment from Casey on the UK Comic issue 34 review with James. Thanks for a very fun show. This next bit, the power ratings round number 3. So I'll do the comments here, and then I have premiere chat from the power ratings. Brian Davis, good episode. I liked hearing about GoBots at the end. I might have seen the cartoon a handful of times when I was a kid. I do still have most of the GoBots that I had. Turbo and Psykill were my favorites, but it took forever to find them. I also have a great puzzle of Psykill, a coloring book, and 2 golden books. I never looked at them as inferior to Transformers, just different and in a good way. So I'd love to see it.
Yeah.
Love to see some more GoBots love. As of this recording, I've only watched one more episode. So I have, at this point now, I think 6 episodes left. So 60 to 65, technically 6, and then the Rock Lords GoBots movie. So I don't want to say I've cooled off on it because the passion's definitely still there.
Well, even in your highest of highs, like it's going to wind down a bit over time anyway. It's just, and then then you go back to it. I mean, I do it with everything,
But I'm definitely gonna, since the down weeks at work are looking like they're going to cease very soon. It means I can start spending money again, and by doing so, I'll be on the hunt for GoBots. But I'm hoping now that it's warming up, I can make my way out to some more flea markets, some more yard sale, and just go hunting that way, and hope that I come across someone that has GoBots they don't want anymore, or don't know what they have,
or Rock
whatever.
Lords.
Yeah, Rock Lords are definitely on the list. Don't you worry, I'm going to be buying some Rock Lords, even though I haven't watched the movie yet. I already know that I'm gonna be picking those up. Drawing by hand. I grew up watching The Challenge of the GoBots. A fan here, awesome cartoon. We need a complete DVD collection. Warner Brothers owns this. The DVDs are out there. So Drawing by Hand. I know you're in the UK, so maybe that's different for you over there. But here in the States, we did get all of them released on DVD, though they are the burn on demand stuff. So I don't know how well those hold up when they're manufactured, if there's any defects. Because Tyler, you haven't watched all the episodes and all your sets.
I haven't, but the ones I've watched all look good to me. But
okay, but I'm just saying, like, there could be some episodes on the disc that don't play or glitch out, or
it could be,
or whatever. Yeah. So I would really hope, if anything, we need to get these at least in a digital platform. That way, people can buy them there and rent them there, or just. Whatever the case may be, I would like to have it more prominent aside from just these burn-on-demand DVD discs that eventually are going to degrade and rot out, especially with Warner Brothers discs, because there's probably some stuff in your collection, there's probably some stuff in my collection, Warner Brothers stuff, that have disc rot on them just because of the way that they were pressed and the time period that they made them in. So yeah, it's kind of the brutal thing, but it's good because Tyler just told me that he's upgraded, and I was it Blade, Lost Boys,
Vampires, Devil's Advocate,
and
Kingpin.
Oh, nice. Okay, that's awesome that you pulled the trigger on that. So at this point now, going to retire. If there's DVDs, are you going to get rid of those? Send them
I will,
value?
because I'm like, look, I've got Vampires on Blu-ray and Vampires on DVD that I got one of the first DVDs I ever received, and I only kept it for sentiment. I was like, you know what? I've gotten rid of damn near everything I've gotten over the years when I've upgraded. I'm like, I truly don't need to hold on to something I'm never going to watch again. Yeah. Just to look at it on the shelf and say, you know what, that was one of the first DVDs I ever got. Like,
I was there.
Vampires. I think I got Batman, the Snapcase, and Jaws, and Army of Darkness were the first 4 DVDs that we ever got.
Man, For
Christmas of
me,
like 19 or maybe like 2000, I think.
I can't remember like the first select few, but I know for a fact the first DVD I ever bought was The Crow. That was the first.
That was the first. First I actually bought was the G.I. Joe animated movie. That was the first one I actually bought. Once we got the player and got those first four, I went to FYE and bought.
Spent a fortune on it.
Yeah, like
those
I think I spent like $30, I think.
Those were the days. Drawing by hand also goes to say this. I never had the toys, only pajamas. I've seen the mini episodes, but not the entire run since I was a kid. I don't have to, I don't have to be Crusher and Turbo are my favorites, as well as Coptor and Psykill. Scooter's voice was annoying, even though he's a good character. We need updated figures of these. I'm all in. Yeah, I wish Bandai would do something. It's just Machine Robo and like put them out again. I would be all over that. Like that would be the instance that yes, I would prefer getting the reproductions because now I don't have to worry about scuffs and all that stuff. But interesting that you found Scooter's voice annoying. I thought I was going to at first, but it just never happened because mostly
I always loved it. He was my favorite as a kid because I loved his voice. I just thought he had such a fun, friendly voice that was very welcoming to me as a kid.
And it's Slimer essentially. So
yeah, it's Frank Welker, man. Like he could never do any wrong.
And that kind of also ties in as we move on here to the premiere chat stuff that we had for the power ratings. This first little bit comes from Johnny Cock. You know what cartoon I want to revisit again? Mighty Ducks or Darkwing Duck. So in that regard, did you know Seth Rogen's doing a Darkwing Duck thing? I think.
Oh fuck, he's gonna fuck that up too with the stoner laugh.
Yeah, maybe.
What is he playing the lead like he did in fucking Green Hornet too?
I don't know. I didn't read enough
Seth
on
Rogen.
it. I don't mind him. I really have no problem with him, but I'm like Darkwing Duck. That no. Gary Buchanan didn't realize we were doing power ratings. Let's be ready in PC. And then Johnny Cox saying Evil-Lyn is hands down my favorite Master Universe villain.
She's definitely top tier for sure.
Next little bit, Gary Buchanan. The movie looks as bad as T-Rex predicted. Kind of sad.
Yeah, I'm tired of being right.
Just
believe me, I love nothing more than to be wrong about a brand new live action He-Man because I can visualize what a good one would look like. That ain't it.
Fedmon, Nathan, an idea for a future tier list of voice actor characters. This one could be reoccurring. Wow, do it once every in a while. Example: all the characters voiced by John Irwin, not just Master Universe. Stick to cartoons and animated movies. Rank all the voices they ever did. Mind you, must be reoccurring characters. So I think that's a great idea. I talked with Tyler about it down the road. He just mentioned him, Frank Welker. I would love to do a tier list.
We'll do a Frank Welker tier list. That's what we're gonna do.
Yeah, and obviously, of course, we're gonna have to narrow it down.
Oh God. I'm just thinking everything I pick out is going to be masterpiece. Like it's going to be the most uninspired discussion because everything that I like that he's done is not,
So we'll have to kind of mix it up a little bit in that regard to see if we can kind of get some stuff. But I mean,
yeah, but I'm like, it's trying to okay. Where did Frank not do such a good job? Like I feel like
I know, right? That's gonna be.
I don't want to do that. I don't want to think about that because I don't see that. I'm sorry, but I love his Kermit, his Ray Stance, his Slimer, his Soundwave, his fucking mega. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. And I'm just like, I'm sorry, the guy's a legend. I can't find fault in anything he's ever done.
Yeah, we'll figure something out in that regard. Maybe Frank Welker is not the best choice for a tier list. Maybe we should pick someone else. Johnny Cock. Honestly, I doubt Amazon, Paramount, and Mattel need to factor a Master Universe fan like Tyler at all in their decision making. He cemented one version of the universe, and even if it appealed to him, he's got no space for the new shit.
It's not that I don't have space for new shit. It's just they don't care about writing these characters with any sincerity. It's all about taking the piss out of it. It's not putting your best effort forward. And yeah, that's my opinion, and you can dismiss it or roll with it, but You know, as I've found out too, talking to people, Mattel keeps it. It's a closed circle. They don't listen to opinions outside of that circle, and that's just the way it's going to be with anything, especially with He-Man. Amazon, again, no one working in media today gets the concept. They just know it as YouTube jokes, memes, shit like that. Whatever,
just doing anything for the money,
whatever, and that's it. You know, because you know what, their heart's probably not in it. You know what, it's a job.
Mm-hmm.
That part I get, but if you're in charge, if you're in charge of this property, this mythology, this franchise, like what today, it's all about making fun of everything. Doesn't matter what it is, we got to make it jokey, we got to make it funny and laugh at it. And you know, I look at He-Man as like being treated like Conan. You know, no, I don't need to see Conan hacking off limbs and shit like He-Man hacking off, you know, characters left and right, but it needs to be taken. The tone needs to be serious. The villains need to be real threats. The heroes need to be actual peril. There needs to be stakes.
Just watch Evil-Lyn's plot, and that'll kind of tell you everything you need to know. But real quickly too, because we've talked about this quite a bit the past couple episodes. It's one of those cases now that they've ran Transformers into the ground, movie-wise. Turtles, they've pretty much milked that dry. So now it's kind of, they're looking at the opportunities. Oh, yeah, Master Universe, let's go ahead and let's take that. Now it's the thing. Oh, Darkwing Duck, yeah, let's take this. So it's that's all it is. It's basing it off. It's just the nostalgia trip, and
it's not meant to be good. I think I think they're just going off the fact. Oh, you watched this when you're a kid. Well, you'll want to go spend some money and go see a movie of it.
And I think that plays into, I think I have this in the correct order. If it doesn't pop up, it's going to show up soon. Johnny's saying, now the question is, can they make the other millennials that haven't stuck with Master Universe to come back and have a stint where they get their kids interested in it? Or if not, for at least a season, or, you know, the release window here. So that's kind of a good point. You know, that's what they're banking on more than anything else, is the people that have forgotten about the stuff. And, oh, I remember that. I had this toy. Da, 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 da. So
I hate that that's all you're basing it on, though, because there's so many things that, you know what, if that's all you're relying on the audience is just being, even forgetting and pretending that there's a fan base out there that has kept the property alive, which is why you have a job right now doing this. Is because the fan base was loyal and devoted enough to keep it alive during the dark ages of the early days of the internet, He-Man.org, and fans participating in the opinions on MYP, the DVD releases, figures that are being released to Mattel at the time. They're listening to this avid fan base that is passionate and doing wonderful fan art and customs that don't suck balls, and just like letting you know that there's a lot of love and serious passion for this property. And now it's just like, don't really care about all that. It has no fan following. It's that's all we know today is what's on the fucking current internet.
Well, I think
let's ignore the fact.
Well, it's kind of more based off of, as we discussed, what they want to get is the casual market, the soccer mom, all of those audiences that they end up.
I love that that's their go-to, but just like, are you telling me then that when Peter Jackson makes Lord of the Rings, why not take the piss out of this? Why not make fun of the source material? Because the soccer moms won't know what the fuck we're doing. The average Joe won't know what the fuck we're doing. The 5-year-old won't know what the fuck we're doing. If you're going to sit there and say that, you know, we're going after that audience because they're dumb as fuck and don't know any better, because that's what you're saying, that they have no preconceived notion of this property.
That was different, though. That was 20 years ago. That was still a time in movie making where there was still that little bit of the magic in the bottle. I think, and we go back to this all the time, but I think that rise in popularity and stratospherical numbers and box office that the Marvel movies did and what those turned into kind of created that this is what we're chasing moving forward with this type of IP.
And yet they're ignoring the fact that those first 4 or 5 Marvel movies, not all of them, but the first Iron Man, the first 3 Captain Americas, the first Avengers, the tone was serious. Even Age of Ultron, the source was taken seriously. It was not meant
Disney. It's Disney's fault.
Yeah, that's right. Because Disney has no fucking balls about anything. They like to castrate Star Wars and Marvel and any other property they've got, and say, "Why we have nothing but toxic fans because they just hate everything we do because we."
Hey, you remember the last week the collective groan you and I let out when we watched that Mandalorian Grogu trailer before the anniversary screening of Ninja Turtles 2 Secret of the Ooze, which I want to circle back around to that after we're done with the feedback. But yeah, we that trailer, man, it's just what happened. That first season, the first 2 seasons of that show were so good that I was buying Star Wars figures.
I was
again.
And it felt good to be excited about Star Wars, and then you realize, like, okay, Disney had no idea what they had in their hands. Now they're just
now they do,
over.
And now we're gonna fuck it up.
Yeah, and I hate that. It seems like with any good idea, the people who are upstairs who
running
are
in the ground,
good ideas, there's crunching numbers and looking at the bottom line and all that other bullshit that the boardroom meetings entail. Like,
running
don't
in
care
the ground,
about good ideas.
Milk it dry. That's
milk it dry.
Move on to the next
I
thing.
want that Baby Yoda. I want Grogu all over the fucking place, so where he's so fucking obnoxious. You pull it behind every car. They're fans of Mandalorian. They're fans of Mandalorian. Like, Jesus Christ, people! Just all these like lame Star Wars fans who just kind of make it embarrassing to sit there and say you like Star Wars at any point when you got all these goofy families who are all dressing their kids up and shit. It just kind of makes it fucking lame, you know. It's like in the episode said about the bell, Mr. Belling's wearing the buddy band. It's like that's what it's like. You know, it's like I would be caught dead with Belding wearing that.
I want my money back.
Why? Is something wrong? We'll be glad to refund your money if your buddy band's defective.
Belding's wearing one. You can't get more defective than that.
That's how I look at Star Wars now. When you've got all these lame ass families like dressing up like Star Wars characters, and it just looks like, oh god, like you're just. You're giving it a bad name. This is the bad rap. This is what Disney's after. You kind of assholes.
That was perfect. The buddy bands. Oh my god.
Yeah, and that's what this new live action He-Man movie is going to be about. If you sit there and say you're a fan of that, you're no different than fucking Belding wearing a buddy band.
Johnny goes on to say, "I love how the display with the stats looks like a puzzle game at a glance." I'm like, yeah, it made me think of Bust a Move on arcade and PlayStation.
Oh yeah,
Johnny going on to say, "Oh Tyler, I want you vouching for me in my corner like you do Master Universe, because I would pity the fool who makes fun of me within earshot of you." And
what's he alluding to there? Like, I want you vouching for me in my corner. Well, Johnny, you're a loyal fan of the podcast. I would always vouch for you there, buddy.
Well, no, it's just saying the way that you champion Master Universe, he would pity anyone that would make fun of him within earshot of you if you were to treat that much like you do anyone talking any shit about Master Universe. But then,
oh yeah, I clearly tell like people who really don't know fuck all, but they want to act like they know something about it, in which, in our state and probably many around, don't know a fucking thing about He-Man. Very, very few people have ever had intellectual conversations about He-Man. It's always been with people over the internet, because I'm well aware of the more intelligent fans, and they're getting lesser and lesser all the time. Just because I think people get tired of the bullshit and whatever, or who knows, they just move on to other things, whatever the case may be. But there's still some lingering around. But I don't, at this point in my life, I don't want to sit there and pretend and humor people who don't know a fucking thing. Which is why on this podcast, like, I know the people at Mattel, it's a job. People working on the shitty movie, it's a job. They're not waking up every day, and their goal is to, like, let's make this as fucking lame as possible, because our fans are dumb. They'll buy anything because they're desperate. It's something to buy. It's new. I gotta have it. It's here. I gotta buy it right now. Like, they're thinking they're doing a good job. I beg to differ, and it's a shame that they don't really want to hear from fans that are really passionate and are. I think sometimes they'll check in with certain individuals that we know and get their opinions on certain things. And if I was ever asked, I would be polite about it, but I also would be honest. Like, I'm not going to sit and say you should be fired. I would sit there and say, I'm sorry, but no, you're not. Where's the tone? Why aren't you honoring? Like, you're coming with really bad and embarrassing stories in these mini comics, I would tell, the art direction, like, mix this up a little bit. Make some more dynamic poses in these battle sequences here. Not everything's got to be, homages and things like that. Mix it up a little bit here, and there's so many more obscure characters if you really wanted to expand on the origins line, which, the quality control went out the door after the first figure. So it's not going to get any better. But if you're wanting to really spice things up, there's a shit ton of things you could do with it. But you're choosing not to do that. And I would do it for free. I would all that stuff. I would I don't want any money for it. All I want to know is that this property is treated with the utmost respect and seriousness, and you're not looking for the next internet meme to make another variant, to sell a fucking San Diego or some shit like that.
Hey, feel free to put those checks into my bank account. I will gladly take it.
Oh God, believe me. If they was like, well, we got to pay you something, well, then give them to my who's putting all the effort to make this, who's giving me an opportunity to interview me every single week and get only my opinions on Masters of the Universe.
This goes to talking about the audio stuff. It got. I bet all the Spotify people will be like, wow, Tyler's jacked. And I kind of wonder if there's any people that listen to us just strictly audio, like what they think we look like in their minds, just hearing our voices. It would be interesting if they've never clicked on the YouTube
I'd be
channel.
very curious, because, we're in Virginia, so we're considered the South here in the States. If you're not, anywhere where we're at, we are considered the South, not deep South, but, we do have I'm sure to others we have a Southern accent, which I'm not proud of at all.
I do. I'm not either. Johnny saying Spinner Rack, Marvel Masterpieces, 1993, 2016. I haven't forgotten.
Oh, I know you haven't, and I appreciate that too, man. And just letting you know, man, I got series 1, 2, and 3 on display out here in the hallway here in trading card displays. So, but 2 is by far it's better than 4. 4 fucking sucks.
Johnny saying strictly just going from the OG cartoons, Transformers, season 1 Transformers and GoBots. GoBots has the better stories. That said, I sided with Transformers because they looked way better to me. So I get that. I honestly do, but I still stand by it. Every single episode of GoBots I watch, it was an absolute treat. No matter how ridiculous the plot would go, I bought into it wholeheartedly. I love the dynamic between all the characters. I love especially hearing these last 15, 20 episodes, seeing more GoBots, that we're going beyond our core 6 and more reoccurring.
Yeah, you're expanding the universe.
Yeah, that we've seen prior to that. I think the next episode I have to watch is the one that I've mentioned before, where we get to see why Psykill became Psykill. That he was part of the council and he turns his back. So I'm very curious to see how that one's going to play out. And then finally, I think I had to set aside some time and watch some GoBots now. In case it's on Tubi. Yes, go watch GoBots on Tubi.
I would love to see like a really good artist like do a rendition of like Optimus and Leader 1, Psykill and Megatron, draw them by the same artist and kind of blend them together like they belong in the same universe. And then tell me that, oh my God, like, yeah, I could totally see the world of Gobotron interacting with the world of Cybertron,
Yeah, but I think at this point now, with Hasbro owning it, essentially, it's going to be when Vince bought WCW. We're still going to make GoBots feel lesser than. They're not going to be equal at all. We're never going to put them over. Yeah.
And it made me think too, and I wish that Hasbro had done more of this. When they were doing their 25th anniversary line of G.I. Joe, they kind of brought in like a few kind of like one-timer characters. They brought in Matt Tracker from Mask and I thought, holy shit, that's a brilliant idea. I'm like, are you going to incorporate kind of more or like other lines like that? It's like, nah, it's just the one. Like, why? Why not do more? Like, why not make Miles Mayhem? Kind of like like they did with Street Fighter and G.I. Joe. That was so fucking cool, man. Like to think that's what I have in my living room is a diorama of Cobra Commander having an alliance with M. Bison along with the villains from Commando.
Yeah.
Like these figures from like the same scale. Like, yeah, I could totally see these factions coming together under the unified leadership of Cobra. Like, why not?
Mm-hmm.
You know, Shadaloo is in cahoots with Cobra. And
Yeah.
Fear is in cahoots with Cobra 2. They're taking over the world. Then you got to call in John Matrix and John Rambo and James Braddock. They're going to join G.I. Joe along with Guile. You know?
Yeah. Yeah. It just shows it's sort of their version of World War, you know?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, God. It's so cool,
yeah,
man.
It's just all the potential. I've been thinking about it because I've never really watched much of it, if at all. I'm thinking after I finish up GoBots, which I'm probably going to go ahead and just do that this week. Maybe Mask is the next thing I tackle because I'm not well versed in that at all.
I'm not either. I had some of the toys. I had a coloring book, and I thought it was awesome. But the show, even I remember seeing it to rent on occasion. If He-Man and Thundercats this year were available, I wasn't passing up an opportunity to not rent one of those, and it just didn't make me want to like go and like I have to watch this because I think the one time I watched an episode, we did it on Beyond Retro years ago, and I was just kind of like, it didn't do much for me, you know. But the concept, the toys are fucking amazing, and I know James is a big advocate for the show.
Yeah, he
swears by it.
Yeah.
You know, and there's a bunch of other shows like Jason the Wheeled Warriors. You know, I've never watched a single episode of that. Trying to think some of the other like 80s staples, which I feel like I've at least sampled a lot of them. I know Galaxy Rangers I started to watch and then got sidetracked, so I've yet to go back and actually watch a complete episode of that.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff we gotta jump into.
Yeah, but I mean, I love my He-Man, love my Thundercats, my G.I. Joe, my Turtles, Silverhawks, Bionic 6, Brave Star, Dinosaurs.
Just keeps listing them off.
Yeah, just it's you know, well, that's just where I like to devote my spare. And Transformers, GoBots. Yeah, it just goes on. I like shows like, yeah, I'm in the mood to watch that right now, and you know.
Yeah. One last comment on the power ratings video that wasn't lumped in with the rest when that premiered. This comes from Terrell White. Speaking of Hanna-Barbera, I recently picked up Thundar the Barbarian, the complete series on DVD from a pawn shop for $3. And I was like, that's
the deal of the century.
Go to pawn shops. They always have DVDs there. Sometimes they'll probably have a smattering of Blu-rays, but for sure they will have a shitload of DVDs. They used to have a shitload of VHSs, but a lot of these pawn shops have phased those out over the recent years. I used to do this all the time. I would go in there just looking for bad movies. That's how I came across a lot. I think I have like 3 Cynthia Rothrock films that I've gotten there, which we're going to talk about her very shortly. But go to pawn shops if you're looking for bad movies or just random stuff to add to your collection. Pawn shops is a wonderful place to go and look around. I haven't done it as much the past few years, but I used to be at all of the local ones pretty much every week. I would pick a day and just go make the rounds and see what I would find. Like video games too, like Super Nintendo games. I would get lucky enough and find some of those. But DVDs, you'll find something good. I
hope you're enjoying the hell out of Thundar the Barbarian too. That show fucking kicks all kinds of ass.
Went on to say, also, I picked up the first season of Nash Bridges for $3 as well. Right. Yeah.
Any Don Johnson love, I'm all in full support. I've never really wanted to sit down and watch Nash Bridges because it always just seems so inferior to Miami Vice to me.
It definitely is, but I remember watching it every Friday night because my dad liked watching that show. So I was watching all the new episodes Friday nights. I think it was the 10 p.m. time slot for Nash Bridges.
Yeah, and I remember it being a regular. I remember when Stone Cold Steve Austin had like his guest appearance on an episode too, and I just would see commercials from like it just even though Philip Michael Thomas shows up in an episode along with like Chong, so you have like Cheech and Chong reunited and Crockett and Tubbs reunited in the same episode, which are like that's a cool thing. But I don't know, maybe it's I don't know what if you're telling me it's not
It's
and I'm
it's fine. It's no Miami Vice by any means, but it's a
Yeah.
totally serviceable TV show. Honestly, it's one of those kind of, you just turn your brain off. You just kind of sit and you just watch it. And if I watched it today, I would have some odd comfort to it because it would take me back to that time period more than anything else. And just sitting in the living room because this would have been mid-90s. I didn't have cable in my room. I had a TV in my room but didn't have cable, so it was basically I'm just playing video games when I'm there. So like watching TV was in the living room. So it takes me back just Friday nights watching that with my dad, because he would just watch those kinds of shows all the time.
I guess for me too, I'm so spoiled. Like, I don't want to see Don Johnson not portrayed as anything more than cool. And Miami Vice to me is just the cops got to be cool.
Yeah,
and it's not going to get any better than that, unfortunately.
You've seen the recent rumors with that new Miami Vice film.
The first one when I heard is Michael B. Jordan's playing Tubbs, and then I saw that Glenn Powell first was announced. I'm like, oh my god, if they cast him as Crockett, like that's pretty fucking genius. Mm-hmm. And then I heard like, okay, that may fell through. And the guy who played Elvis in the Elvis movie,
Austin Butler.
Yeah, and I'm like, okay. And then I haven't heard anything else. Like, okay, what's confirmed, what's not, what's happening? And
I don't think there's anything confirmed, but I saw some stuff that Tom Cruise might play the villain in it, and I was like, okay.
Oh, okay. But then I'm like, I wonder what kind of, because I love that movie, because I'm like, yes, there is potential to make a great Miami Vice movie. Unfortunately, Michael Mann didn't do that. Kind of ironic. But I'm like, and I love that it's be set in the 80s, like around, I think 1985, I think is when the movie's going to be set. So it's going to be hopefully authentic looking 80s,
Michael B. Jordan, fresh off of his Oscar win for Sinners.
Yeah. And I'm like, I can see him as a new Tubbs, and I would have much preferred Glenn Powell as Crockett. I just thought he would have been perfect in that casting, honestly.
I do too, but that Austin Butler kid, I haven't really seen much of his work, but he seems like he wants to take the job seriously, and anything that he's done from the clips that I've seen of stuff, I'm like, oh yeah, he seems very confident. Glenn Powell would have been good.
Yeah, I'm eager just because I feel like, God, this could be so good if done right and taken seriously, and and not just be like everyone's trying so hard to be cool, like they were in the Miami Vice movie that we got. It was like, oh God, this fucking sucks. So I'm excited to hear any more news about it. I'm hoping we'll hear some, official announcements, who's been cast and this and that, and maybe get a teaser trailer in the next year or so or some shit like that. But hell, they even started production yet. They haven't finished casting yet.
How about that? Some slight optimism from Tyler about a new project involving a show that he loves very much.
Oh yeah, it's my favorite TV show. Period. I mean, it's. I was actually watching some Miami Vice just the other day, just because I was in the mood for it. I just fucking love that show.
Yeah,
I don't like seeing modern day like Law and Orders and your CSIs. Man, fuck those shows. I want to see cool cops. I want to see pretty girls. Like, I want to hear awesome music.
Speaking of cool cops, Tyler got this in the mail this week. Let me check this off of here.
Oh, that's as cool a cop as you're ever gonna get.
So this has got like a magnet flap. It feels like.
That's cool. Very cool.
It'll stick.
Yeah, it's crime fighting time. Look at that, and even a little comic book to put in there too.
Well, it's just
I mean, it's a panel, but I'm just calling it a comic book. Yeah.
But check this out. So you go to the back.
Oh, you get the file card.
But also, look at this. Complete your Cops and Crooks collection coming soon, Tyler. Long arm and Dr.
Bad Vibes. Holy shit balls.
Yeah, so that's hopefully that happens. So I need to unbox this and set them somewhere on the shelf.
God.
Yeah. Come on, Tyler.
Amazing.
Come on, you want to get it.
Only reason I didn't get it, people, is because I was just trying to stop buying figures because I don't want my place to become a hoarder's nightmare of just having too many figures. Because I had to box up a bunch of stuff. I just don't have room. Don't have room. I don't want to play. I want my place to look respectable.
Buy it. Blow all your money.
That's something too. We'll have to maybe go back and do another spotlight on as the cop show.
Oh, absolutely.
This
next comment, UK comic issue 34 with James. Mike Lomax, always good when the Reverend comes to visit. Great video on the UK He-Man comic, and the after subject chat was excellent. So,
I like that he refers to the Reverend as the Reverend as well. I was like, all right, it's catching on finally after all these years.
We're going to make it stick. These next couple of comments, this is our character spotlight on Whiplash. We have from Federico Gutierrez. I had to check. This is a 2-year-old account, so it's not fresh. But we get vintage thumbs down and origins thumbs up. So it's like, sure.
Yeah, I don't know how you see it that way, but you know what? You have that right to feel that way, bud. So
absolutely. And then finally, Simple Tricks and Nonsense. Fascinating the curiosity and admiration for the early Lizard Man concept. But when Mattel does a figure based on that design, the reaction is, oh God, what a piece of shit. I'll read the rest of the comment after that. I'm going to stop right there. So the figure that came out in the new Eternia Masterverse line, kind of an homage to the concept art, but it's a very half-baked idea because that's not Lizard Man. If they put it, they advertise it, yes, this is a concept Lizard Man. They just threw some armor on a Whiplash figure and posed him in a way, gave him a torch. It's like, look, you see? So it's a very half-baked idea, number one. Number two, we can like the concept art and not be like, oh, we have to have a figure of this. Why have they not made a figure of this? So just because they can doesn't mean they should.
Yeah, not to mention the Masterverse line has always looked fucking dreadful from day one. And it's a shitty looking Whiplash, and just throw a couple accessories on there and say it's an homage. Like, no, that's just lazy. If they had actually made the actual Lizard Man character as a separate character, that's a completely different scenario. But they didn't do that. So yeah, I shit on it because it's a shitty variant. It's a shitty figure, and a cheap way of saying make your own Lizard Man. No, fuck you.
I don't even think they even did that. It's just essentially
it's not even doing that. It's just like if we're just being lazy here, you can make your own Lizard Man by just putting this bullshit hat on his head that he wasn't wearing in the concept illustration, and armor he's not wearing the illustration. Well, the other version, there's another version where he's wearing armor, but the hunched over, the yellow, purple, and
the one that we presented on the show.
Yeah, that's the version I'm thinking of. And I know that this shitty Whiplash is supposed to be an homage to the other version of Lizard Man, the upgraded concept character with but still, it's a lazy way of trying to do that. So yeah, we have every right to say, yeah, this is fucking lazy. It's eye rolling, and you should have done better. But you chose not to. But
we also didn't really spend much time on
well,
that.
I don't recall us like, yeah, this figure fucking sucks. Let's move on.
I think we just talked about like the little hunch that he had on there that wasn't.
I think I spent more time talking about that. And like it just looked
than anything else.
It's a bad looking figure. So I don't think you're quite understanding our viewpoints on this at all. So you might want to go back and re-listen to what we actually had to say.
The weird dilemma of fans wanting something new, not a 20th copy of the same thing. But when there's too vast a departure, the fans reject it. So why try? Red Letter Media said of Star Wars that sure, there's this vast universe to the saga, but Star Wars has to fit through a keyhole to be accepted by most fans. I think that's true for Master Universe as well. So it's just like half-baked ideas and not like trying to do something else when everything else is right there in front of you to explore.
Well, I'll tell you straight up, and I've talked to others too. People working Mattel right now don't have a fucking clue of how to make new characters for Master of the Universe, and it continues to show that. What they think is being creative, like you clearly don't get the concept. They don't, and they never will, because they clearly don't care because people are still buying the shitty toys. So, obviously money talks. So, but they don't have any idea how to write good stories, how to draw, create, new characters to expand the universe. Because you're still not getting it. They haven't done anything good, in my opinion, since they started. They've completely blown the idea. It's a cheap, lazy way. I think what we're already getting with classics. We'll just do a cheap, lamer version of it with shitty mini comics. That's nothing new. We were already getting something brand new that was fucking wonderful. And it's not me just sitting there saying, well, it couldn't be better back in my day. No, everyone was happy with classics. Everybody was. Damn near everybody was. And Mattel says, no, fuck you. We're going to do our own thing. We're taking this away from you. Yeah. We're going to do our own shitty version of this. That's not being anything new. That's taking a great idea and downgrading it with just lack of quality and care. And that's not doing something new. It's repeating itself again. Doing what Mattel was already doing years before with the classics line and what Super 7 was trying to continue to do. So people are obviously happy with it because they missed out on classics for a variety of reasons. Mattel's not doing anything new. They're just repeating the same shit over again. So if you're sitting there and saying that we're upset about, we're getting something new. No, we're not getting anything new. It's just recycling the same shit. Oh, okay, we get Skelecons. They did that.
I mean, they're going to do the same thing with the DC stuff more than likely.
Again, it's
just going to be, hey, here's more Batman figures. Here's more Joker figures.
Yeah.
All right. Well, you don't want variants of all these guys.
It's like you're not really listening to what we say on the podcast if that's what you're jumping to conclusions and thinking there. So if you really think that's how we feel, you need to go back and watch other episodes and don't just chime in from time to time. There's logic to why we feel this way, or at least why Nathan's more lenient about what comes out.
Well, because I'm at it. I mean, we're both in the mindset of if you're digging Origins, you're looking forward to the new movie. Like, fuck, man, all the power to you. Like, I don't give at this point. I give two shits about anything, and I mean, I seriously mean that. Like, I watch trailers for stuff and be like, oh, that seems kind of cool. Maybe I'll watch that. Will I go to the theater see it? Who knows? Maybe I'll just rent it or wait for it to drop on a streaming service. I don't obsess about these things anymore. Like, this show is just it's a fun outlet for me to talk about Master Universe with someone who's very passionate about it. I've known for 26 years now at this point. And it's a great way for us to bond over something. I get to learn new shit all the time. I get to build more of the knowledge of this. And then we get to talk about other things that we both like. I don't look at any of this stuff of, well, you're not buying Origins, you're a bad fan, or you're not going to the movie, you're a terrible fan, or I'm done with all that stuff. Like, it's just strictly giving an opinion and moving on with my day and moving on with my life. That's basically all this stuff is to me. It's just
I don't know about any of this unless Nathan shows it to me, because I don't give a fuck. I don't care.
His head is in the sand.
And you know what? I'm quite happy right there. Like, that movie's gonna come out. I don't give a fuck. People can like it, they can hate it. I don't care. You can buy the new toys. You can love them and hate them. I don't care. They're going to keep making toys that I don't want because I'm not interested in collecting new shit. I'm happy with what I've got. I'd rather spend my money on creating my own adventures for my own personal amusement, and maybe share them here on the podcast if people give a fuck.
But Tyler's whole thing and why he says the other stuff that he says is just because it bothers him that there's the potential of it. We could do this instead. Why are we doing this? Like, he's like, they're going to do whatever they're going to do anyway, but he wishes that it could be different. It's not saying that he's going to burn everyone at the stake. Oh, why are you? It's not like that.
It's like, God, people, I'm sorry, but I'm not one of those people who hides behind a fucking keyboard and attacks everybody because they have an opinion different than mine. I have a fucking life. I have things to do, things I want to do. That ain't one of them. I watch the He-Man cartoons and the movie in my own time because I get the biggest joy and thrill out of rewatching things I've seen a bazillion fucking times because I fucking love it that much. I like to come in here and just hang out and look at everything on my wall because I fucking love this stuff. I do not give a fuck about Masterverse. I don't give a fuck about Origins. I don't give a fuck if this movie does well and they make a bunch of shitty sequels, Netflix original series, and all this other bullshit. I do not fucking care. Because you know what? They're not going to do anything serious or anything that would be remotely close to what I would want to do in a mini comic, let alone in a full live action movie. You know, it's I've made my peace with it. It's going to continue to keep going on with people who don't know a fucking thing about how to write good storytelling, let alone a good He-Man story. It's not going to happen with the people in charge there. So I'm right here with my best friend and some fun friends that join us from time to time and get to share my thoughts about this stuff. If you hate it, that's okay. If you love it, wonderful. But this is my outlet to talk about something I am never going to get tired of talking about. And that's just the way it's going to be. And I'm happy with that. Yeah. I don't feel like I'd love nothing more than to be working on He-Man and just writing stories and letting someone else do the artwork, someone else can edit it, but just write stories. And you know what? This is really the only outlet for me to even do that. And I do it for free as a labor of love. Like the stuff I do with Nathan and I do it just for us to have something fun to talk about. It's an outlet because I will never get to do that in any other way. You know, I will never get a phone call from someone at Mattel or Dark Horse and saying, "Hey, look, I came across the algorithm," regardless of what some people may say. You know, they stumble across.
Oh, hey, maybe their account is a month old. And
yeah, maybe
this popped up in my recommended.
Like, I am appalled. I am appalled at this podcast. You know, I'm going to go hang myself right now. You know.
Yeah, it's just yeah.
I'm thankful that I have an outlet to do this kind of stuff because I never dreamed I would ever have an outlet to talk about He-Man. Period. So,
and I never thought I was going to be doing this.
Yeah,
so.
I sure didn't think I'd be doing it with you of all people. Like,
yeah.
You know, I thought maybe one day I was going to get that call from the Reverend or from Val Staples, like, "Hey, you over there, you know what you're talking about there. We're going to bring you on here." And I got stars in my eyes, and I'm like, no, it's just not the way it's going to happen. But it's happened the way that it has.
But hey, at least you can call them friends.
I can call them friends, and I've been fortunate enough over the years. I've had people reach out privately. "Hey, you have some good ideas. Let's do something together." Mm. And you know what? It was fun to be asked. You know, to be, "Hey, you have good ideas," and it's nice that it's recognized because that's I couldn't have asked for a more, you know, praise than like, "Hey, I like your ideas. Write something." Mm-hmm. And it feels good because I used to wonder, like, why don't I just write it? Because I wasn't motivated. I was like, no one's going to care. Who's going to ever want to listen to anything I have to write about He-Man? As far as I'm concerned, no one I knew ever gave a fuck about what I had an opinion about, let alone about He-Man. Mm-hmm. So I'll never forget being asked as many times as I've had to, like, "Hey," even if it never went anywhere, you know, it was still really cool. You know, for stretches, like someone thought, "Hey, I like your ideas. I want you to come up with something brand new." Because, you know, my ideas would get steamrolled with people at Dark Horse and Mattel because I think it would go over their heads. They're like, how do you get all that from this? I don't know. What's that word? I think. You know, I know storytelling. I'm an amateur writer at best. I'm nothing special, but I pay attention to stuff of what makes a movie work, from action, fantasy, you know, a good Western, you know, whatever. I just like this. I want to bring out emotion, the goosebumps to people when it comes to He-Man. Why can't He-Man be as exciting as some of the other great properties out there? Why can't people just be all pumped and, you know, they get goosebumps on the top of their hair? Like, "Oh my God, I can't believe this moment is happening here." You know, why can't He-Man and She-Ra get that same kind of response out of people?
Maybe one day we'll share the one specific idea that you had, but there was the thing where you're talking about, like, movie wise, and this concept you had and the music that would play, and that was something special.
I was so like thrilled that when you and Rebecca like listened to that, and both you guys like got teary-eyed, like,
because I think more than anything, it's the music that you picked and the way that you set the stage for what was going to happen.
Yeah.
You can visualize it and you can see it and you can feel it. And that's the magic of the movies. That's the magic of the storytelling. That's why people look back so fondly on, especially the early Spielberg stuff, right? Because it captures the imagination, tugs at the heartstrings, does all of this fun shit, and yeah, that's
why I'm saying, like, why do people have to settle with He-Man and She-Ra today? That's always going to be for
that's
people who think I
big...
just sit there and I got sand in my vagina or whatever you want to say. Is like, no, you're the one with the sand in your vagina. All I'm saying is that this stuff deserves to be treated with the utmost respect. And I get angry when I feel like you keep hiring people who don't know what the fuck they're doing and making up shit as opposed to honoring what we got. We have so many wonderful ideas in the mini comics, the golden books, and Filmation that you can expand, and it mushrooms into this massive, expansive world with just the seeds are planted all over the place. Run with that. Run with that one-shot character. Build upon this. Build upon that. No, I want to have people fucking. You know, it'd be like Brody and Mallrats. Like, I don't understand. What's Whoopi? What, like fucking? You know, like, because, it's cutting edge. No, it's not cutting edge. That's stuff we don't need to see in this mythology. Like, I don't need to picture Batman and Talia fucking. You know, it's not part. I'm not interested in that kind of stuff. Sure. Do they? Will they? Probably. I don't need to see it implied, though, and stuff like that. Same thing with He-Man. Like, I don't need to see He-Man killing people. I mean, killing monsters and beasts, that's one thing, but I don't need to see him impaling Clawful with the power sword. Mm-hmm. You know? It's just unsettling that the train has left the station, and it will, until there's a new regime of like people at Dark Horse, like, you know what, you need to stop writing shitty stories, and we need to get a better artist on the book here, and you need to stop writing shitty mini comics here. We need someone who knows what the fuck they're doing and actually cares. You know, I don't care if you're doing it for free. You know. Yeah,
but it goes back to what you were saying earlier. You know, it's probably just a job, and these people they're not in that mind space. Maybe some of them are, but who knows? Like,
but you could also, I mean, you could apply that to movies and television shows, that you should care when you're in the entertainment business. You want people to react and respect. You want to take your craft. What's your job now? Yeah, if you're working behind the scenes and you're the best boy grip, and you know this and that. Okay, yeah, craft services, it's a job. You're collecting a paycheck. But if you're a director, you're wanting people to buy into your vision. If you're a screenwriter, you want people to buy what the vision you're trying to put on the paper there. You want people to go along with you on this ride here. You want them to take what you're doing seriously. That's how you continue to get more jobs. It's because you're doing a good job on the first one. And much like when you're starting out, you know, in the entertainment industry, you got to start for peanuts because you're hungry. You have something to prove. You look at James Cameron when he first started, Steven Spielberg when he first started out, before they turned into, you know, pluses.
See,
but they started. They're willing to. They're hungry. James Cameron was hungry. That's why he made the fucking Terminator, and it was a fucking masterpiece.
I see. No, here's the story that's going on in my brain now. Right, hypothetical. Tyler's like, I'm going to do this for free. This is for the passion, for the love of the thing. Tyler gets an opportunity. Tyler starts writing stuff. He gets this recognition. People are like, they give him the book. They're like, you know what? Here, take the reins. And then all of a sudden, Tyler
I turn it into Avatar of Master of the Universe.
Yeah. You turn into the thing that
I hate the most. I become my own George Lucas.
Yep. So that was the feedback that we had received to kind of contradict everything that we were just talking about. Because I was going to bring it up again real quick. She's eluded me this entire time, pretty much. I talked about the pawn shops. I've purchased 3 of her films because I went in the collection and looked because Tom and I had a conversation about her because I was like, Tom, I've been watching this. You own this, right? And he's like, of course I do. I picked up 3 of these movies of hers at pawn shops over the years. Cynthia Rothrock. Never watched any of her movies until this week. So I checked out Undefeatable, Lady Dragon, Tiger Claws, and I'm halfway through Tiger Claws 2. I'm going to try to finish that tonight because I started that yesterday. Undefeatable, Tyler has also watched Undefeatable because I pushed it on him. I was like, dude, this movie is, for me, upper echelon. This is Miami Connection. This is Deadly Prey. This is up there. I was laughing. I was having a good time. The story is absurd. You liked it as well. I liked
Yeah.
it a lot more though, but just what a great shitty movie.
Oh yeah.
The dialogue, just the story itself. Our main villain is over the top in the best ways. The fight choreography, every bit of it. But I've come to notice between that and watching the other, like Rothrock, oddly attractive, especially when she's got like her short blonde hair and stuff. Like she's not like supermodel-esque. But now I'm watching it, it's kind of like that quirky girl in your class. They're just like, huh, yeah, that's kind of weird. Like she's kind of hot, but not really.
She's a girl. She's got a pulse. I guess it worked.
No, it's not like that. But it's the bummer is that I started with Undefeatable, so I kind of feel like anything I watch after the fact is not going to touch that in the realm of just like entertainment value for me. But I will say that Lady Dragon, Tiger Claws, and even more so Tiger Claws 2 are still very competently made movies that I am intrigued by and I'm watching. There's some shitty dialogue and funny stuff here and there, but not like Undefeatable. That for me, that was, I was looking, I was like, is there a movie poster for this? Of course there's not, because that was like direct to VHS stuff going on. But I'm gonna check out a good more chunk of her movies. Tom and I have been talking about that. And speaking of Tom, to kind of put a spoiler out here, as we record this episode right now, yesterday, we lost an action hero icon. Chuck Norris passed away. I broke the news to Tyler because I mentioned Tyler's head being in the sand. This was the case. He had not seen the news yet. I think I had a notification on my phone sometime around 10:30 in the morning, and I text you hours later, and you're like, wait, what? But with that, a month from now, we're going to record an episode with Tom. Tom is going to join us, and we are going to discuss some Chuck Norris movies. So that's gonna be a kick-ass time. I do want to put this out there on this episode before we get to that, and I might even mention when we get to that. I love his movies, but I will have to say, just from his personal beliefs are it's that aspect of him is very hard for me. Very, very hard for me.
I guess I don't follow this. I know he's a Republican, but that's all I know. Because I don't give a shit about politics.
It was on, I wouldn't say extreme end, but very, very close. So this is going to be one of those cases just for me personally. I feel like there are other people out there. You have to try to separate that stuff. I will do that for this because I love Invasion USA. Lone Wolf McQuaid, I think, is my favorite of his. It's probably that and then Invasion USA for me. But the Missing in Action movies are great, and I don't want to keep talking about that because we got to save some of that for Tom. But it goes back to the point. Norris was 86. A lot of these guys that we grew up with, they're all getting up there. Everybody's getting up there. We're getting older, so it's that weird space where you never think that that's going to happen, but that's how it goes.
I just think of Massive Part, and people throw this phrase around like abundantly, but that was part of my childhood passed away. Because I was a big Chuck Norris fan. Christmas of '87, getting Chuck Norris Karate Commando action figures for Christmas on Christmas Eve, Christmas of '87, which is the same Christmas I got He-Man figures.
Think about that for a second, though. Out of like all the toy lines and shit coming out, like Chuck Norris has an action figure line that comes out, but it's based off of his name. It's not like something else. Yeah, it's like fucking Chuck Norris, the Karate Commandos. So not many people can say that they had such a thing.
Yeah, I mean, Arnold had a line based on Commando. Stallone had one based on Rambo, but
Yeah,
Chuck
but
Norris had one based on Chuck Norris.
Yeah, it's not like Sylvester Stallone, and no,
Yeah.
it's like so it, yeah,
and that was a great toy line too. I like the cartoon. It's it's I mean, it has its hokey stuff, of course, but I enjoyed it. I loved it as a kid, but yeah, Chuck was a big part of my childhood, much like Stallone, Arnold, Van Damme, and Dolph. I can't put it into words like how much I loved him and his movies and what he stood for. And I like I said, don't get into politics with anybody because I don't care. Because I know Arnold and Stallone, I think they're Republicans too. I'm like, I don't give a shit. Just keep your politics to yourself. All I care about is what you have done, and that's all I focus on.
Mm-hmm.
And but it was heartbreaking to hear that about Chuck. Again, it's like Hulk Hogan passed away. Huh? You just hard to wrap your head around. And I remember thinking, like, when the day Chuck Norris died, and I thought about that multiple times, much like with Stallone and Arnold. Like, I won't know what to think if they ever pass away, which they will at some point. But
mm-hmm. I like how you said if they ever pass away.
I mean, because I look Tyler, at them as like you're immortal. Like, you can't leave this planet.
I mean, for the foreseeable future, in that roundabout way, they all are, just because of their body of work and the stuff that will live on for the next little while. I've seen stuff where it's just like, and you have to think about this too. 100 years from now, like once we're all gone, but all this stuff, if the planet's still here as well and people are still on it, 100 years from now, like you think about 100 years ago, like when movies are first starting out and stuff, it's like, yeah, people think of Charlie Chaplin, Buster Keaton, a lot of main actors in 40s and 50s, but how many of
the
those
Marx Brothers, Three Stooges,
but how many of those other players that were around and popular at that time for a decade or two or so, but not quite to those levels of them, have mostly been forgotten about after all of these decades. Yeah. So you kind of have to wonder, like, 100 years from now, what will people still have in their mind and still remember and look back on or whatever. So it's weird to think about.
I do worry because I feel like today's generation's movies don't have the impact that they did on us. And even people who are a bit younger than us, movies still, I think, a bigger impact because people actually got off their ass and went to the movie theater because, oh my God, this legendary movie's coming out, because of an actor that was in it, or what it was going to be a spectacle about dinosaurs getting loose, or the latest Stallone movies out, the latest Schwarzenegger movies out. You went due to the star power. We don't have that now. So 100 years from now, there is no star power in the entertainment business anymore. It's all online. That's the star power. I'm not being cynical. I'm just saying that's what gets people's attention now. It's YouTube sensations, TikTok sensations, people who are on Instagram as models and shit like that. That's the star power. Stupid people. People who rub shit in their hair. I got to check out how much shit is he rubbing in his hair today. Oh, I'll subscribe to his Patreon
and then sell it to the masses. You can be like me.
I don't get it. And you know what? Frankly, I don't want to get it. I'll just bury my head in the fucking sand and wait for my fucking prom.
What a weird time to be alive. But let's go ahead and wrap this episode up.
I hope continue to live my life in a plastic bubble.
I hope everyone enjoyed us discussing Evil-Lyn's plot and all the extracurriculars and discussing your feedback. I didn't know how any other way to put that, but make sure
if you enjoyed the interview that Nathan conducted with me, let us know.
Leave us a comment.
Interviews in the foreseeable future.
Leave us a comment down below. Make sure your YouTube account's a little bit older than a month this time around, though. Make sure to subscribe.
Be a little bit more wiser about snooping around, trying to, get attention.
Subscribe to the channel, like this video, do all the things, and until later, let the power return.
If you live through this, tell Rostov it's time to die.
See, now I'm thinking, just based off what we talked about, this is going to be Chuck Norris movie. He's going to blink at me. He's not going to give me a hit. He's like, you just need to fucking tell
I want
me.
you to go with your gut, damn it.
I'm just going to say Invasion USA. Hey!
You got it.
Yeah.
First
well,
try.
You know,
You listen to that damn gut.
well,
Instead of like, oh no, is it Ninja Turtles?
oh, we didn't even talk about that. Real quick, we went and saw the 35th anniversary screening of Ninja Turtles 2, Secret of the Ooze. We had a great time. There was like 5 other people in the theater. They were quiet. It was nice. The sound could have been a little bit louder.
Yeah.
But in watching it, we have nostalgia for it. We appreciate it, but we also recognize that it is not really. It's not a good movie.
No, it's not. It's not a movie you want to go on, just put on at leisure. Like, I'm in the mood to watch Secret of the Ooze. Like, no, you're not.
No.
Nah, nobody is.
Yeah, and you realize that the first 5 minutes in, the parents have meddled. They were mad about the first movie, and now we get no weapon usage. But I mean, I popped.
A lot of bad jokes.
But I popped for the part where Donnie's pushing things. Like, yeah. I just for some
I remember
reason
seeing that in the TV spots, and it was like, oh, this is gonna be so much fun. And of course, when Toka and Rezar show up, I'm like, oh, this is wonderful. But man, everything is so downplayed. Even I love Paige Turco is April. She's so fucking hot in the movie, and I love Ernie Reyes as Keno and David Warner as Jordan Perry. I wish they had made them parts of the mythology going forward. Like, I'd like to see Keno as like another human ally for the Turtles.
Yeah.
And that Jordan Perry, is like a confidant to the Turtles in the science world,
Could you imagine it's like Keno, Casey Jones, and Raph like go out on a mission together? Like, fuck. That would be so good.
There's the comic book series right there.
Oh man, the potential and much in the vein. Just to get Kevin to draw it.
Kevin's like, and Kevin doesn't like the Turtles either.
Why?
It's his wife loves Turtles. He does not.
What the? All right, well
he's drawn a Leonardo that looks fucking fantastic. And the thing is, like, when he doesn't like something, it makes him work harder because he knows he doesn't like it. So he will. That's why he's not a fan of New Adventures of He-Man, but he'll make New Adventures of He-Man look fucking phenomenal.
What the? How do you not like Turtles like at all?
I guess probably because of the age that when they came out, he's much older than we are.
Yeah,
he was young when He-Man came out, and when Thundercats come out, and G.I. Joe, he likes all 3 of those. But
yeah, I guess that would kind of be that separation, much like cartoons that came out when we are like mid 90s for us that we look at and we're just like,
you're like, Cat Dog, that's fucking dumb, and it is. But like SpongeBob, yeah, it's fucking genius.
You like SpongeBob?
SpongeBob, I haven't watched it in decades, but
Holy
at first I was like, this is so fucking, and then I actually watched, like, oh, this is actually fucking brilliant.
Holy shit. I did not know that.
Yeah.
I have to let Emily know. She loves SpongeBob.
Yeah, when it first came out, Derek was watching, and I actually sat and watched one episode, and I thought, okay, I got to eat crow on this one because this is really good. Wow. Really good. Very, 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 very witty, intelligent, and funny writing. So
I learned something new today.
Yeah, but and Fairly Odd Parents, that was another decent like ladder Nicktoon cartoon that came out. And Angry Beavers, that was good too.
I watched Angry Beavers, but not Fairly Odd Parents.
But Wild Thornberrys, didn't give a fuck about that. Hey Arnold was good, but it didn't wow me like Doug.
I liked Hey Arnold a lot.
And it was because when I watched it and gave it a shot, okay, yeah, it's well made, good voice acting, good stories, but it doesn't leave me like wanting to go back and revisit. Like, I do remember the Stoop Kid episode because Budnick plays the voice of Stoop Kid.
Stoop Kid's gonna leave the stoop.
Yeah, Which that I did enjoy because it's Budnick. But
one of my favorite episodes is where they take that abandoned lot and clean it up and make it a baseball field.
I don't think I saw that one.
Yeah, that one's a lot of fun too, man.
And I like the music. There's a lot of like jazz music in the show because it's in the, you're in the urban environment,
and Arnold's room was really great. Yeah, with the skylight and everything in there. Yeah.
So it was a very intelligent show, and it's I again, when you're used to like Doug and Rugrats, Rocco, All Real Monsters, and Ren and Stimpy, like I don't need to see anything. I'm happy with this, and then obviously it makes sense. And giving Angry Beavers a shot, Fairly Odd Parents, like, okay, yeah, these are actually like really well made shows, and I'm laughing and I'm enjoying the jokes and things like that. But then when they come out with fucking Cat Dog, it's oh god.
But I do kind of understand Kevin's viewpoint on that, but it's like, dude, at least watch like the 1990 movie. If anything.
And that's what I'm saying. I don't know to the extent of how if he's watched much of it, if he's just based on like, is he familiar with like the original comics where they're very in the black and white, dark and gritty stuff? Mm-hmm. Is he going by like a lot of the memorabilia, which is kind of light and fluffy turtle stuff, as opposed to like the first few episodes of Turtles, are like a little bit more serious in tone. They don't get excessively comical until like you get down, and then of course the first movie being the fucking masterpiece that it is. I don't know. I only had one conversation with them about it because I had a couple ideas I wanted to draw turtles, and then I changed my mind and go back to He-Man or G.I. Joe or whatever it is. I've yet to this day got him to draw turtles for me.
It's got to make that happen.
I would love him to
I was gonna say, got to make that happen. Keno, Casey Jones, Raph.
I do like a mock comic book cover.
Yep.
TMNT Adventures. Play off of like the Ninja Turtle Adventures, like Archie comic, and then have like Raph in the center, Casey on one side, Keno on the other, and Ernie Reyes like in like his outfit that he's wearing when he's like
when he's attempting to join
the foot. He's wearing like the black tank top and the black pants. Give him a black headband, and some fingerless gloves, and have him like in an alleyway with Casey and Raph.
Maybe
with
like
take on. You don't know who they're getting ready to fight.
Yeah, you could probably make it very reminiscent of that Daredevil cover where like Hulk's going to be in the issue. So it's like they're there and there's like you see a shadow, but you don't really know who it is. You can kind of like tease around.
You can allude to he's going to fight. They're going to fight the Shredder or maybe Slash.
So we got to do that, and then we got to do the Daredevil Batman idea. With Kevin. So yeah, we'll get all that. We'll get all that lined up. But thank you for watching.
Thanks for your time.
Well, this is the last time I rent here.
You'll be missed.
Screw you!
Hey, you're not allowed to rent here anymore.
Yeah!